Chapter 17:11. When Yun Xiao finished speaking, he and Mo Qianqing disappeared at the same time, leaving only a light breeze that brushed past Yun Luofeng's ears. Grandpa Jun seemed to see Yun Luofeng's worry and raised the corner of his lips slightly. "Little girl, don't worry. Yun Xiao is not such a reckless person. He definitely has his own plans." Yun Luofeng raised her brows and glanced at Grandpa Jun. "I heard that you came to find me and Yun Xiao. Why have you been here for so many days?" Grandpa Jun's expression was a little awkward. It's a long story. Then make it short." Cough, cough. Grandpa Jun coughed dryly. "It's like this. After I arrived at the Hidden God Mountain, I coincidentally met a couple. I decided to travel together with them. Unfortunately, we were separated midway." Grandpa Jun felt a little regretful at the mention of this matter. Even he did not know why he felt a little uneasy in front of that couple. Furthermore, the red-clothed woman gave him an extremely familiar feeling. After we were forced to separate from that couple, I fell into a dangerous situation and even picked up the injured Yun Xiao. We finally managed to escape the trap, but we encountered that crazy woman again. The old man was very indignant. Yun Luofeng asked no more. She looked in the direction that Yun Xiao and Mo Qianqing had left with a trace of worry in her eyes. After a while, Yun Xiao and Mo Qianqing both appeared in front of Yun Luofeng. At this moment, the two of them didn't fly in the air. Instead, they walked over from a distance. They were injured, and Mo Qianqing was glaring at Yun Xiao furiously. It was as though he wanted to eat him alive. So fast. Yun Luofeng was stunned. She did not have time to worry for too long, and Yun Xiao was already done. Yun Xiao's figure flashed, and he raised his hand to pull Yun Luofeng into his embrace. His cold black eyes gradually surged with a trace of a smile. "I will definitely be very fast when it comes to other matters, but..." The man paused. "In bed, I will definitely be very slow." Yun Luofeng's expression darkened. She looked up and met the man's smiling black eyes. A black line instantly appeared on her forehead. "Yun Xiao, who taught you to say such words?" She vaguely remembered that Yun Xiao knew nothing about love. She was pure and cute. Now, he could actually tease her without batting an eyelid? Self-taught. Yun Xiao's black eyes stared at the woman in his arms as the corners of his lips curled. Mo Qianqing's face couldn't be any darker, and his gaze seemed to want to kill Yun Xiao. "Tell me what happened." In any case, Mo Qianqing was an old monster who had lived for so many years, while Yun Xiao was only a young man in his 20s. If Yun Xiao was given a few more years, Mo Qianqing would definitely not be his match. But now, he claimed that he could defeat me even without using his full power. Yun Xiao swept an indifferent glance at Mo Qianqing, so I made a rule with him, that he was not allowed to use his spiritual energy, and that he would obtain victory through physical combat. He agreed? Yun Luofeng raised his brows and asked. "That's right." Yun Xiao nodded. "However, I've also made a request. That is for both parties to seal their own powers. Indeed, spiritualists could seal their strengths, and powerful people could also seal people that were weaker than them. Of course, no one would do such a thing if they sealed their own strength, because once one's strength was sealed, it would be impossible to remove it without the help of an outsider. This was also the reason why they had to rely on their feet to get here." Chapter 17:12. Don't tell me he agreed to this? Yun Luofeng was startled. Mo Qianqing wasn't just simple, he was stupid. Perhaps Yun Luofeng was right. Mo Qianqing's face became uglier and uglier as he glared at Yun Xiao. He didn't agree at first. Yun Xiao raised the corners of her lips slightly. But I goaded him into agreeing. He was angered by me, so he agreed. Mo Qianqing snorted. "What's so great about that? You only defeated me with physical strength. If you have the ability, let's compete in real strength." As if he didn't hear Mo Qianqing, Yun Xiao let go of Yun Luofeng and slowly walked in front of Grandpa Jun here. "Only you are half a step into the Void Realm, so you can help me break the seal." Mo Qianqing's eyes widened as he suddenly understood something. His adorable smiling face instantly turned red. You did it on purpose?" Yun Xiao glanced at Mo Qianqing and said in an infuriating manner, "You found out?" Enchanting trembled. This guy purposely tricked him into sealing his spiritual energy so he could dominate Zhu Qian. Yun Xiao, since when did you become so two-faced? Yun Luofeng glanced at the livid Enchanting with a smile in his eyes. Speaking of which, Enchanting was a pitiful person. However, a pitiful person must have a hateful side. If Enchanting hadn't betrayed Zhu Qian, why would he have been trapped in the illusion for 1,000 years? Even though he regretted it in the end, betrayal was betrayal, just like a broken mirror that couldn't be fixed. Kid, sit tight. Grandpa Jun made Yun Xiao sit cross-legged in front of him and slammed his rough hand on Yun Xiao's shoulder. Instantly, his body shook as if there was a powerful force flowing through his body. Not long after, there was a loud bang and a gust of air rushed out, enveloping the entire area in a thick spiritual energy. The feeling of recovering my strength is not bad. Yun Xiao loosened his shoulders as his gaze slowly landed on Yun Luofeng's body. Yun Xiao, you can't take risks anymore. Yun Luofeng's heart finally calmed down, but his face was still cold. I'm worried, what? Yun Luofeng was stunned, not understanding what the man meant. I'm worried that you have such a hidden danger by your side. Fortunately, he is easily deceived. With just a few words, he sealed his strength. He did not know if Yun Xiao was doing it on purpose. But the moment these words came out, the originally ashen-faced Enchanting almost burst into tears. His eyes were bloodshot as he glared fixedly at Yun Xiao. His gaze looked as if he wanted to tear the other party into 1,000 pieces before he would be satisfied. Liar, you big liar. Enchanting bit his lip and glared angrily at Yun Xiao before turning to Yun Luofeng. His expression instantly became extremely aggrieved. Zhu Qian, what's so good about this man? You should immediately divorce him and marry me. I've waited for you for so many years. Do you have the heart to abandon me? Yun Luofeng frowned. I am Yun Luofeng. You're Zhu Qian. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to obtain his inheritance. A person like Zhu Qian would rather let his things disappear in the long river of time than hand them over to someone else, unless this person is his reincarnation. Hearing this, Yun Luofeng felt very helpless. Even though she had yet to find Zhu Qian's successor, she had a feeling that one day she would meet Zhu Qian's successor. But now, she had to think of a way to deal with this Enchanting. Chapter 17:13. Yun Xiao, what do you think? Yun Luofeng turned to Yun Xiao and asked. We can't kill him now? Yun Xiao pondered for a while and said, Little Yun Xiao, in my opinion, you should keep this kid by your side so that he doesn't harm others. Although Enchanting's powers were sealed, who knew if he would break the seal if he was provoked? Moreover, even if they wanted to kill him, it wouldn't be that easy. This guy is still a ticking time bomb. It's dangerous to keep him by my side. Yun Luofeng raised his brows and said slowly. Even though the old man didn't know what a ticking time bomb was, he could roughly understand what Yun Luofeng meant. Enchanting heard their conversation and felt very angry and wronged. He wanted to snatch Yun Luofeng to his side, but he also knew it was futile. Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng pondered for a while, and a light flashed in his eyes. How long can a seal last? There were many types of seals. For a seal that was placed on oneself, there would definitely be some leeway. 3 years. In these 3 years, he won't be able to break the seal on his own. Unless he's facing a life and death situation, and there's a 50% chance of breaking the seal. This was also why Yun Xiao claimed that he couldn't kill Enchanting. Then keep him by your side for the time being. 3 years' time was more than enough, all right. Yun Xiao didn't refute Yun Luofeng's words. In his opinion, Enchanting wouldn't be a threat in these 3 years. It's a pity. Yun Luofeng sighed. It's a pity that Qin Luo escaped just now. My ancestral dragon blood essence is almost up, and I can't take advantage of the situation to pursue him. Yun Xiao turned to look at the dark mountains. His eyes narrowed, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Let's leave this place first. I'll find someone to flatten this hidden god mountain. North Continent. In the Continent Lord's residence, the Continent Lord's face darkened when he heard the guard's report. A ruthless look flashed in his eyes. Yun Luofeng is back? Before this, the Sacred Lady tribe had sent people to the Wuhui continent to find trouble with the Yi family. Yun Luofeng had also chased after them. However, just a few days ago, a spy from the North Continent Prefecture claimed to have seen Yun Luofeng in June City. In this way, the Sacred Maiden tribe had failed. Of course, as for Yun Luofeng's behavior in the Maiden's tribe, it was unknown. The Sacred Maiden tribe did not have the habit of interacting with the outside world, and Qin Shui was already dead. Naturally, no one told this matter to the Continent Lord. Father, a man silently walked in front of the Continent Lord. His eyes were filled with unconcealable hatred. Shuang, why have you come? The Continent Lord's complexion looked a little better as he asked. Of his two sons, one was dead and one was injured. All of this was because of Yun Luofeng. He would never let that sinful woman off. Ling Shuang didn't have his usual elegant demeanor, and his eyes darkened. Father, could it be that the Sacred Maiden tribe failed and couldn't capture Yun Luofeng's relatives? That's right, I thought that the Sacred Maiden tribe was very powerful, but it turns out that they are a group of incompetent people. If we can't even capture a person, we might as well send someone from the North Continent. The Continent Lord snorted and said while gritting his teeth, Father, you can't say that. Be careful that the walls have ears. If the Sacred Maiden tribe hears it, it will definitely implicate the entire North Continent. A haze flashed in Ling Shuang's eyes. What's more, this time, the Sacred Maiden tribe underestimated the enemy and didn't send any experts. Also, the Sacred Maiden tribe has been standing for so many years, and they don't even give face to the major continents. She must have her own support. Maybe she's already half a step into the Void Realm. Chapter 17:14. Half-step Void Realm. These words made the Continent Lord suck in a breath of cold air. Our continent doesn't seem to have a half-step Void Realm expert, right? The earliest one was a few hundred years ago. I've always wanted to break through to that realm, but I couldn't. The Sacred Maiden tribe's 3 Grand Elders reached the high-level Holy Monarch a few decades ago. Would the legendary matriarch of the Sacred Maiden tribe be weak? That's right, the Sacred Maiden tribe's 3 Grand Elders were already high-level Holy Monarchs. Would the matriarch of the Sacred Maiden tribe be weaker than them? If she's still here, I'd believe that she's a half-step Void Realm expert. Unfortunately, she's been missing for more than a decade. The Continent Lord shook his head and said, Father, she's missing, but the 3 Grand Elders are still here. These 3 Grand Elders have been in seclusion for more than a decade. Maybe they've already broken through. In fact, for so many years, the continents had been afraid of the Sacred Maiden tribe. It was not because of the 3 Grand Elders. It was because of the legendary matriarch of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Many people had long guessed that she had reached the half-step Void Realm, but no one could confirm it. Even if she was missing now, no one dared to disrespect the Sacred Maiden tribe. Father, a murderous look flashed across Ling Shuang's face. Yun Luofeng killed my brother and crippled me. This hatred, even if I kill her, it's not enough to resolve it. So, I can only make a move on the people around her to make her suffer. The Continent Lord's furrowed brows relaxed. Then what do you want to do? Ling Shuang sneered. You also know that I had a dispute with her because of Huang Yingying. At that time, I didn't know that Yun Luofeng and the Northern Continent had a grudge, nor did I know that Huang Yingying was her maid. Because of this, it caused a conflict between the two sides. Since she cares so much about Huang Yingying, then I must get her. Shuang, the Continent Lord's face changed. Even if you're crippled by Yun Luofeng, you're still the Northern Continent's young master, the only heir. I will definitely find a cure for your illness. You must not marry that woman, Huang Yingying. Her identity is not worthy of you at all. Father, you're thinking too much. This time, I don't want to marry her. I want her to be my concubine. No, concubine is not qualified. I just need to play with her for a period of time. Hearing this, the Continent Lord let out a sigh of relief. He thought for a bit and said, if that's the case, don't let Huang Yingying go. Yun Luofeng is a very affectionate woman. If you capture Huang Yingying, you can threaten her. Ling Shuang's smile carried a trace of viciousness, and his eyes were filled with coldness. Huang Yingying, I was so good to you back then, but you abandoned me. Things are different now. Don't even think about getting my gentle treatment. I only have hatred for you. Shuang, go and rest. I'll send someone to look for Huang Yingying. Yes, father. Ling Shuang bade farewell and left. The continent lord looked at Ling Shuang's back and frowned. If it weren't for the fact that he only had 2 sons and that the other one had died, he would have long given up on this trash. Unfortunately, this piece of trash was his only son. He had to cure him at all costs. Yun Luofeng. So what if there are many people helping you? I have the support of the Sacred Lady tribe. Why would I be afraid of a little girl like you? Thinking of the past, the continent lord gritted his teeth in hatred. Whoever helps you will not escape death. Ever since the dispute over Hongluan in the Eastern Continent, they were destined to be enemies. Chapter 17:15. East Continent, June City. June Fengling raised her eyebrows and glanced at the group of people who surrounded her and Yi Jingchen. A cold glint flashed across her eyes. Young Master Yi. Madam Yi, may I have a chat with you? The middle-aged man who led the group walked to the two of them with a smile. Even though he had a smile on his face, it was a fake one. His small eyes were filled with cunning and sinister intent. June Fengling and Yi Jingchen looked at each other and smiled coldly. I'm sorry, I'm looking for someone in June City. I'm afraid I don't have the time. Ever since that day, when she and Yi Jingchen entered the hidden Divine Mountain to search for Yun Luofeng, they had even met an old man who was traveling with them, who knew that they would meet with danger on the way, causing them to be separated. They were also heavily injured, but fortunately, they were rescued and left the hidden Divine Mountain. They had intended to continue into the hidden God Mountain, but unexpectedly found out that Yun Luofeng had left alive. Moreover, he was in June City. Therefore, she and Yi Jingchen immediately rushed to the June family. As for the group of people in front of them, they had a dispute with them previously. Madam Yi, don't reject us too quickly. The middle-aged man smiled. You've just arrived, and there must be many inconveniences in the 7 continents. If you join the Wei family, it will be equivalent to an additional layer of protection. At this point, the middle-aged man paused. As for the person you're looking for, I'll definitely send someone to help you find him. What if I reject you? June Fengling's smile was cold as she said coldly. The middle-aged man's face darkened. Letting you join the Wei family is because you're convinced. Don't be ungrateful. If it weren't for the young lady's request, the Wei family would not allow anyone to join. Moreover, it should be up to young Master Yi to decide whether to join or not. A woman like you has no right to decide such an important matter. Sensing the anger of the woman beside him, Yi Jingchen held her hand and looked at the middle-aged man with a hint of coldness in his gentle eyes. My wife has the final say in the Yi family. She naturally represents my decision. You! The middle-aged man's face turned green as he pointed at Yi Jingchen angrily. Just as he was about to shout, a delicate voice came from behind. Uncle Wei, you can leave first. Let me talk to them. The girl's pretty voice instantly attracted the attention of many people on the street. She was dressed in a delicate pink dress, which made her skin look snow white. She had become the most eye-catching person here. Mississippi, the people of the Wei clan cupped their fists and said respectfully, this young lady was the #1 genius of the Wei family. Not only was her appearance peerless, but her talent was also outstanding. In the entire Eastern City, perhaps only the 2 from the June family could surpass her. Of course, even though June Fengling was similarly peerless in terms of beauty, no one from the Wei clan would ever admit this. Sir Yi, Wei Ling smiled as she walked up to Yi Jingchen. Her pretty face was filled with an innocent smile as she said, I really admire you. That's why I want to pull you into the Wei family. I can also make your wife a part of the Wei family. As long as you agree, I can give you everything in the Wei family. There were countless collateral descendants in the Wei clan, but there was only one direct descendant, Wei Ling. Therefore, she was the heir of the Wei clan. Chapter 17:16. The meaning of her words was even more clear. June Fengling smirked. This woman was trying to steal her man right in front of her. Did she think she was dead? Miss Wei, I don't like anything about the Wei family. I have a beautiful wife, Ling, and a pair of fists. That's enough for me. Yi Jingchun was disgusted by Wei Ling's gaze, and his tone turned colder. Wei Ling wasn't angry. She chuckled. Which man doesn't want power? The Wei family isn't the best in East Continent, but it's one of the best. I'm the heir of the Wei family. If you marry me, it's equivalent to marrying the entire Wei family. You're smart, Mr. Yi. I believe you know what's best for you. Yi Jingchun's face darkened. It was his first time seeing such a shameless woman. Get out of my way, he shouted coldly, not intending to waste any more time talking to the woman in front of him. Mr. Yi, I know that you and your wife love each other deeply. I won't do such a thing. How about this? As long as you enter the Wei family, I'll allow her to be your concubine. Although Wei Ling's tone was gentle, and she had a smile on her face, her words sounded like charity. It was as if Jun Fengling had to thank her for becoming Yi Jingchun's concubine. Jun Fengling was so angry that she laughed. Is this the Wei family's tradition? First, you snatch someone else's husband on the street? Then, you make your first wife your husband's concubine? Yi Jingchun kept caressing Jun Fengling's chest. Afraid that she would be angered by Wei Ling, Miss Jun, Wei Ling didn't address Jun Fengling as Madam Yi, as she didn't acknowledge her as such. Therefore, she paused before she continued, I'm not discussing with you. I'm just telling you my decision. You have no right to speak. When facing Yi Jingchun, Wei Ling was still polite, but in front of Jun Fengling, she put on a cold face and spoke arrogantly. I'd like to see how you can snatch my husband. Jun Fengling sneered. She quickly unsheathed her soft sword and confronted Wei Ling. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Wei Ling narrowed her eyes and waved her hand. She opened her mouth slightly and was about to order her men to take down Jun Fengling. Suddenly, a surprised voice came from behind. Adoptive mother. Jun Fengling was shocked and raised her head in shock. Her beautiful eyes widened as she looked at the woman who was pouncing toward her in shock. Cheer! As soon as she said that, the woman threw herself fiercely into Gu Ruyun's arms. She lifted her dainty face, and it was filled with excitement and excitement. Godmother, why are you here? Jun Fengling had never returned since he left the Yi family 5 years ago. Come to think of it, they hadn't seen each other for 5 years. At the thought of being separated for 5 years, Yi Qi felt a lump in her throat and tears fell down her cheeks. Qi you? Compared to Yi Qi's excitement, Jun Fengling was shocked. Wasn't Yi Qi supposed to stay in the Wuhui continent? Why was she here? If she's here, doesn't that prove that Feng is really in Jun City? Godmother, big brother, and sister-in-law are here. I'll take you to them. We can talk later. Yi Qi's tear-stained face lit up with a bright smile. She grabbed Jun Fengling's arm tightly, unwilling to let go. All right, let's go find your brother and sister-in-law. Chapter 17:17. It's been 5 years. How could Jun Fengling not miss her children after being separated for 5 years? She had even forgotten about Wei Ling, who had been arguing with her earlier. Wei Ling's expression was ugly. She clenched her fists tightly, but she did not ask anyone to stop Jun Fengling. Young miss. Uncle Wei frowned and looked in the direction where Jun Fengling and Jun Fengling had left. I've seen the woman who called Jun Fengling my adoptive mother with Jun Ling. Wei Ling took a deep breath. I didn't expect Jun Fengling to know someone from the Jun family. No wonder she dared to look down on me. Jun Ling? The Jun family's Jun Ling? Uncle Wei's eyes widened in shock. If she's related to the Jun family, then we... No wonder young miss wanted to deal with Jun Fengling, but did not order anyone from the Wei family after that girl appeared. So she was related to the Jun family. After she appeared next to Ling, I went to investigate her identity. Unfortunately, I only know her name. It's hard to find out her background with just a name. The Wei family was not powerful enough. If it was someone like the Jun family, just a name would be enough to find out their background. Young miss, then she... Wei Ling shook her head. Jun Ling is very easy to talk to. When she makes friends, she doesn't care about their background. She only cares if they are pleasing to her eyes. Therefore, that woman named Yi Qi probably has no background. As for being a relative of the Jun family, that's even more impossible. I know all the relatives of the Jun family. Uncle Wei heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. That's good. Jun Ling's friend has no background. We don't need to be too afraid. More importantly, Junling had a good temper and would not use her power to oppress others. Actually, there is no need for Junling to be too afraid. Although our Wei family is in existence attached to the Jun family, the Jun family also needs us to work hard for them. In this way, Junling will not fall out with our Wei family just because of a friend. Wei Ling's eyes flickered a few times. Besides, Grandpa Jun and Patriarch Jun are both well-known powerhouses. They will not make things difficult for the younger generation just because of a small matter. In the Jun family, there is only one person I need to be afraid of. Wei Ling took a deep breath, her eyes filled with caution. Are you talking about that person? That's right, it's her, Yun Luofeng. Grandpa Jun had announced to the public that Yun Luofeng was his granddaughter. Perhaps it was because he wanted a granddaughter from the bottom of his heart. Moreover, Yun Luofeng was different from Junlinger. Junlinger would still have some misgivings because of the Jun family, but Yun Luofeng would not. She would not let off anyone who offended her. Uncle Wei sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew that what his family's young miss said was the truth. That woman called Yun Luofeng was a god of plague. He would rather offend the king of hell than offend her. Uncle Wei. Wei Ling turned to look at Uncle Wei and said seriously, "There have been so many handsome young men all these years, but none of them caught my eye. Now that I've finally found a man that I like, I won't give up." "But miss, the other party's backer is the Jun family. So what? She's just a friend of Junling. Tell me, if Grandpa Jun knew that his granddaughter had taught a friend full of stains, would he still allow them to stay in the Jun family?" Wei Ling's lips curled up. A cold light flashed through her eyes. Chapter 17-18. What do you want to do, miss? Find someone to spread a rumor. Claim that Yi Qi, who was on good terms with the Jun family's eldest daughter, Junling, had an affair outside. Not only did she get pregnant several times, but she also changed husbands. Moreover, isn't Jun Fengling her adoptive mother? Say that her adoptive mother had once sent Yi Qi to the bed of a powerful man in order to curry favor with him. Of course, that's not enough. I didn't find out anything about Yi Qi's past, but I sent someone to get information from Yi Qi. I found out that she had never seen her biological parents since she was a child. In this way, you can claim that it was Yi Qi's debauchery that angered her biological parents to death. The smile on Wei Ling's face deepened, her eyes gleaming. Jun Fengling. If you're not willing to give up your man, then I'll make you and your adoptive daughter lose all standing and reputation. Let's see how you're going to stay in the Jun family. The Jun family. Yun Luofeng was playing chess with Grandpa. Jun Yunxiao was watching Yun Luofeng's face intently. It seemed like she couldn't get enough of him. At this moment, a joyful voice came from outside the door. "Second brother, second sister-in-law, your adoptive parents are here." Grandpa Jun's hand, which was holding onto the chess piece, trembled. He jumped up from his chair and looked outside the courtyard with an excited look in his old eyes. After a while, a red robe came into view, causing Grandpa Jun's pupils to shrink. He said in surprise, "It's you?" Jun Fengling and Yi Jingshun were also stunned, looking at Grandpa Jun and Yun Luofeng in front of him in confusion. "Feng Scheller, you know this senior?" Jun Fengling was a little shocked. When they separated at the hidden sacred mountain, they thought that he was in danger. Now that they saw him standing there, alive and well, they were relieved. Grandpa Jun could no longer hold back his excitement and rushed towards Jun Fengling. No wonder he had an inexplicable good impression of Jun Fengling when he first saw him. He was actually Bam. Unfortunately, Grandpa Jun had just arrived in front of Jun Fengling when Yi Jingshun kicked him. The veins on his forehead bulged. "I didn't expect you to be such a person. How dare you molest my wife? I really misjudged you." Yi Jingshun didn't care whether the old man knew Yun Luofeng or not. All he knew was that the old man had rushed over to kill his wife. How could he allow anyone else to touch his wife? The old man's expression changed. His old face was livid. "How dare you hit your father-in-law? I'm going to ask my daughter to divorce you. I'm beating people like you who don't know your place." Yi Jingshun wanted to scold him, but he suddenly realized something and asked blankly, "What did you just say?" At this moment, Yun Luofeng, who had been watching the show from the side, finally spoke up. The old man is right. He is Mother's father, your father-in-law. Yi Jingqian's face turned from green to white, and then from white to red. He finally realized how big of a mistake he had made. He hurriedly ran to the old man and asked with concern, "Old man, no, father-in-law, are you all right? I didn't do it on purpose. I thought you wanted to take advantage of my wife." Grandpa Sheng scoffed and turned his head away, ignoring Yi Jingqian. He was angry. This brat dared to kick him. Yi Jingqian quickly apologized. "Father-in-law, I really didn't do it on purpose. Please forgive me." The old man angrily extended his finger and pointed at Yi Jingqian's head. Chapter 17:19. You snatched my daughter, and now you dare to kick me? Do you think an apology is enough? Yi Jingqian knew that he was in the wrong, but he didn't dare to say a word after being scolded by Grandpa Jun. He could only admit his mistake and apologize. Jun Fengling didn't say a word from beginning to end. She looked at Grandpa Jun with tears in her eyes. Father? So, she had a father too? Grandpa Jun felt Jun Fengling's gaze and turned to look at her. At that moment, tears streamed down his face. My precious daughter, I finally get to see you. Jun Fengling bit her red lips and let her tears flow freely. Are you really my father? Grandpa Jun nodded seriously. Back then, I was forced to take revenge for your mother and the other innocent souls of the Jun family. I had no choice but to hand you over to an old friend to raise. When I was done with my revenge, I went to look for you, but I couldn't find you even after searching the entire continent. Daughter, do you blame me? Never. She had never blamed him. Now that she heard the reason, she wouldn't blame him. Daughter, I miss you so much. Grandpa Jun quickly stepped forward and pulled Jun Fengling into his arms, crying like a child. Jun Fengling felt her body stiffen, but because the embrace was very warm, she couldn't bear to push it away. Grandpa, mother, you can catch up later. We have other things to decide now. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and said with a smile that wasn't a smile. Only then did Grandpa Jun react and let go of the woman in his arms. He wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and smiled. Yin girl is right. I do have other things to do. He paused and continued. Yin girl, I claim to be my granddaughter. Cheetler has been here for so long, but I haven't given her an official identity. The main thing is that I want to wait for you to appear and hold a ceremony to recognize your family. When that time comes, I will announce your identity to the entire continent. Whatever father decides. Jun Fengling smiled with tears in her eyes. She really didn't expect that she had a father. Her adoptive father didn't tell her anything before he passed away. She didn't even know that her family was in the 7 continents. All right. The old man clapped his hands. I've already sent people to the Wuhui continent to pick up your children and relatives. On that day, I'll invite all the people from the continent lord's mansions to attend. Now, I'll take you to meet your brother and niece. Even though the head of the Jun family was Old Master Jun's disciple, Old Master Jun did not refer to him as Jun Fengling's junior brother. Instead, he called him his younger brother. This also proved that the old man was raising his disciple like a son. Looking at the old man's smiling face and Jun Fengling's tears of joy, Yun Luofeng's lips unconsciously curled into a smile. At that moment, she seemed to have thought of something and turned to look at Yun Xiao. Did you find Qin Luo's whereabouts? This woman was always a hidden danger. Yun Xiao shook her head. She's very smart. After she escaped that day, she didn't return to the palace. I went there a few times, but I couldn't find her. Yun Luofeng frowned. After a long time, he relaxed his brows and smiled faintly. Since that's the case, we'll wait for her to come to us. I believe that she will come to us soon. In the meantime, I plan to break through in seclusion. A few days ago, Yun Luofeng felt that she was about to break through. Therefore, she decided to cultivate in seclusion. She would only come out after she broke through to the high-level Saint Monarch. Chapter 17:20. The 7 Continents. Ever since the war between the North Continent and the other continents, peace had returned to the entire continent. Everyone pretended as if nothing had happened and focused on their own tasks. It was precisely because of this peace that the people of the continent felt a sense of unease. However, in the midst of everyone's unease, a piece of news suddenly spread and caused a huge uproar on the continent. Old Master Jun Lintian's missing daughter had been found. It was common knowledge that Jun Lintian once had a daughter that he had entrusted to someone to take care of. Who knew that the person had taken his daughter somewhere else? Hence, Jun Lintian had been searching for her for many years. Everyone thought that Jun Lintian would never have the chance to see his daughter again in this lifetime. Now, he had gone to announce to the entire continent that his daughter had returned. In that instant, everyone's minds were filled with excitement. If Jun Lintian's daughter was already married, her children must have grown up after so many years. They would undoubtedly be the best marriage partners. Compared to the turbulent times on the continent, the Jun family had always been peaceful. Although many people wanted to find out who Jun Lintian's daughter was, what kind of place was the Jun family? It wasn't something that they could easily find out. Therefore, everyone could only return in disappointment. The Jun family. A woman in white sat cross-legged on a tree at the back of the mountain. Her eyes were slightly closed as she breathed in and out. Faint spiritual energy was absorbed into her body. Boom! Yun Luofeng's body shook. It was as if a powerful force had broken through the top of his head and soared into the sky, forming a violent storm above his head. How powerful was the breakthrough of a high-level saint? A layer of dark clouds covered the sky. Lightning flashed incessantly within the dark clouds, proving that the woman had broken through. High-level saint? At the same time, everyone in Jun City was stunned by the aura in the sky above the Jun family. At that moment, in the forest not far from the Jun family, an old man stopped and narrowed his eyes slightly. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, and his eyes were filled with gratification. High-level saint? If I'm not mistaken, the one who broke through this time must be that brat, Jun Xian. He and Jun Lintian had been good friends for many years, and he naturally knew the pressure that his good friend had to endure all these years. If Jun Xian broke through to the high-level Saint Monarch realm, the Jun family would be able to stand tall in the 7 continents. I really envy this old man. First, he has such an outstanding disciple like Jun Xian. Now, not only has he found a daughter, but his granddaughter-in-law is also such a genius. If I had known this earlier, I would have snatched Yin Ruoyan away back in the Zhongzhou state. Chapter 17:21. Hearing this, the North Continent's continent lord relaxed. Not bad. Their northern continent's backer was the Holy Maiden clan. So what if you, Jun Xian, broke through to the high-level Saint Monarch realm? It was still impossible to defeat the 3 old men of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Have you found the girl you're looking for? The North Continent's continent lord turned to look at Ling Shuang and asked coldly. He didn't like Huang Yingying, and because of Huang Yingying, one of his sons died and the other became a cripple, so he agreed with Ling Shuang's decision. He had to make these women suffer a fate worse than death. Ling Shuang's eyes darkened a few times, and a ruthless glint flashed across his eyes. Huang Yingying is missing. He searched the entire 7 continents, but could not find Huang Yingying. Missing? The North Continent's continent lord frowned and asked in a doubtful tone. That's right, Ling Shuang nodded. I've searched everywhere except for a few of the stronger forces, but I couldn't find Huang Yingying. So, I'm guessing that Huang Yingying should be in the Jun family. The North Continent's continent lord's eyes darkened. He pondered for a while and said, the Holy Maiden tribe will definitely come to the Jun family's meeting. When that time comes, Yun Luofeng will not be able to escape death. When Yun Luofeng is dead, you could do whatever you want with Huang Yingying. As for why the North Continent's continent lord knew that the Holy Maiden tribe would definitely come, it was not because the Holy Maiden tribe told him, but because he was certain that the Holy Maiden tribe would not let go of such an opportunity to humiliate the Jun family and Yun Luofeng. But he paused and said, what makes me uneasy is that I have been trying to contact Qin Shui all this time, but I haven't been able to. I don't know what happened to the Sacred Maiden tribe. He's probably busy with other things. Ling Shuang always felt a little uneasy in his heart, but he didn't know where this uneasy feeling came from. It was precisely because he didn't know what made him feel uneasy that he didn't think too much about it. "Father, it's getting late. Should we continue our journey?" The North Continent's continent lord nodded. "All right, let's continue. June family, Yun Luofeng, I'll let you live for a few more days. When all the experts gather in the North Continent, it will be the day of your death." Inside the June family, everyone saw the intense commotion and knew that Yun Luofeng had broken through to the high-level Saint Sovereign. Hence, when Yun Luofeng stepped down the back mountain, June Linger was the first to rush in front of him. Her adorable little face was flushed with excitement. "Big Sister Yun, you've reached the high-level Saint Monarch realm. Our June family is getting stronger and stronger." Yun Luofeng raised the corners of his lips. His gaze slowly swept past June Linger's face and gradually landed on the handsome man in black, standing in the wind. The moment the man saw Yun Luofeng, the corners of his cold lips curled into a smile. "Congratulations." His voice was hoarse and low, like a palm, teasing her heart. "I've said it before, I want to fight alongside you. Instead of being the woman behind you." In fact, Yin Xiao had always been the man behind her back. He was willing to hide all of his brilliance to highlight her existence. But when she was in danger, he stood out to protect her. Such a man should be the center of attention, but he would rather stay by her side as her bodyguard. Ahem. June Lintian felt the ambiguous atmosphere. He hurriedly coughed twice and said awkwardly, "Little Yun, your family is here. Ling, and Chun are at the front to welcome them. Grandpa and the others are here." Chapter 17:22. Yun Luofeng's eyes lit up. In a flash, he had already rushed out of the back mountain. In the front yard, everyone from the Yi and Yun families had already gathered. Yun Luofeng could see his family from afar. Yun Luo, Yun Qingya, Ning Xian, Yun Rishe, Old Man Yi, Yi Jun, Yi Xia, and even the group of youths led by Wu Yan that Yun Luofeng had rescued from the human traffickers. The entire yard was filled with people. Yi Jun and Yi Xia both tightly held on to Jun Fengling's arm, sobbing uncontrollably. Seeing the two children cry, Yun Luofeng felt a soft spot in his heart being stirred. Fenger. Yun Qingya was the first to notice Yun Luofeng's appearance. He had an elegant smile on his face. In a trance, the scene of their first encounter appeared in Yun Luofeng's mind. In the Yun family cellar, a cold man sat in a wheelchair, holding a book in his hands. When he saw her appear, an unforgettable smile blossomed on his handsome, picturesque face now. Years had passed. It had actually been almost 10 years since she had come to this continent. With the passage of time, she had also grown from the once bullied trash of the Yun family to her current realm. Yun Luofeng's heart was somewhat moved. She looked at these family members, and her pitch-black eyes shone with a bright light. "Grandfather, second uncle, from now on, finally no one can hurt you." Yes, she had desperately cultivated and risked her life to grow. Wasn't her goal all for these family members that she cared about? Don't look at how frivolous the old man was and how he always sided with Yun Xiao. If she fought with outsiders, the old man would stand on her side regardless of whether it was right or wrong. Even if her choice was wrong. In her previous life, her parents died early, and she was deceived by her aunt and uncle. In the end, she was thrown into an orphanage and criticized by the world. She had never enjoyed the warmth of family. It was precisely because of this that she cherished these family members so much in this life. Yun Luofeng's old face moved slightly. Even though he was very moved, he would never show it on his face. His old eyes even glared at Yun Luofeng. "Don't say so much useless stuff. Your grandfather has already finished drinking my spirit tea. Hurry up and give me 100 or so caddies." Black lines covered Yun Luofeng's face. This old man was too much of a wet blanket. "Fenger, don't listen to your grandfather." Yun Qingya smiled. "In fact, your grandfather is very proud of you and touched by your efforts." However, the old man has never been good at expressing himself. Yun Luofeng shrugged her shoulders. She had long become accustomed to these things that second uncle said. Ling Er, June Lintian, who was following closely behind them, glanced at the crowd and walked up to his daughter with a smile. Tell them to get some rest. These two must be my granddaughter and grandson, right? TSK, my granddaughter is so beautiful, just like your mother. Master. Jun Xian looked at Jun Lintian carefully. Didn't you meet Mistress when she was 17? How do you know what Mistress looked like when she was 5? Jun Lintian's face darkened. It's what I imagined. Can I? Jun Xian pursed his lips. Would he dare to say no? If he said it out loud, his master would definitely beat him to death. Old master. Yun Luofeng seemed to have thought of something and turned to Jun Lintian. When will the ceremony begin? Chapter 17:23. The day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow? Yun Luofeng rubbed his chin as a glint flashed across his eyes. The day after tomorrow, it would be time for her to settle the score with some people. She would never forget that the North Continent had sent people to the Wuhui continent to cause trouble for the Yi family. Just this alone was enough for her to not let these people go. During this period of time, the Jun city was bustling with activity. Saints that were rarely seen were now abnormally numerous in the Jun city. Similarly, all the forces in Jun city were surging like a tide. Logically speaking, only the higher-ranked forces were qualified to attend the ceremony at the Jun family. Other than the masters of the continents, only the Holy Lady tribe, the Witch tribe, and the West Spirit Academy were qualified. Forces like the Wei family did not even have the ability to enter. But who asked Yin Luo to come to the Jun family? And he had always been greedy, so he came up with a bad idea. He asked Grandpa Jun to make the invitations and auction them. Of course, at the level of the Jun family, those gold and silver items were useless to them. Therefore, those who came to the auction had to take out their treasures to be appraised. This was a chance to get on good terms with the Jun family. Not only could they meet the young lady of the Jun family, but they could also interact with the young lady's children. If they were to their liking, they could achieve meteoric success. Because of this, all the forces did not leave any leeway. Within 2 days, the price of the invitations was raised to an extremely high level. The treasures that everyone took out to appraise were all top-ranked in the continent. In the Wei family, a middle-aged man rushed into the hall excitedly. When he saw the man and the young lady sitting in the hall, his eyes shone with excitement. Master, young lady, I did not disappoint you. I have received an invitation. A look of joy flashed across the face of the Wei family's patriarch, Wei Xian, and then helplessness. This time, for the sake of this invitation letter, our Wei clan can be considered to have suffered heavy losses. Father, you can't say that. Wei Ling smiled. This is an opportunity. The people who came are all the most powerful in the continent. By then, I will choose the most outstanding man in the Wei family and take him as my sworn brother to attend the ceremony. Who knows, he might have the chance to rise. At this thought, Wei Xian sighed softly. It's a pity that you don't have any biological brothers, and you carry the heavy burden of the Wei clan on your shoulders. It's impossible for you to marry out. At most, you can only find a son-in-law. Otherwise, I'm afraid that you won't be able to take advantage of outsiders. Wei Ling smiled. Yi Jingchen's handsome and gentle face appeared in her mind. If she could spend the rest of her life with such a gentle man, she would have no regrets. Father, you don't have to worry about me. Wei Ling hooked her arm around Wei Xian's and said coquettishly, I've already taken a fancy to a man. It won't be long before I make him the son-in-law of the Wei family. Oh! Wei Xian's eyes flickered. He had always been clear about his daughter's taste. For her to take a fancy to a man, that man must have something special about him. You can decide your own marriage. As long as he doesn't have a wife, you can take him as your son-in-law. Wife? Wei Ling laughed coldly. Even if he had a wife in the past, he wouldn't have one in the future. Moreover, she had already spread the rumors during this period of time. She didn't know if the Jun family had heard the rumors. Father. At this thought, Wei Ling snapped out of her trance and smiled faintly. I will go and choose the person who will follow me to the Jun family. As soon as she finished speaking, she let go of Wei Xian's arm. As she walked out of the door, the cold smile in her eyes deepened. Chapter 17:24. 2 days later, the entrance of the Jun residence was bustling with activity. Powerful cultivators from various continents appeared outside the June residence. Due to the large number of people arriving, Grandpa June ordered all the carriages to stop 100 meters away from the June residence. Even those arrogant experts had to obey Grandpa June's orders. At this moment, outside of the June family's gate, Wei Ling gazed at the June family's innumerable experts. Her eyes flashed as she turned her head to look at the handsome youth beside her. She solemnly instructed him, "Later, if you see Grandpa June's granddaughter, you must do everything in your power to befriend her. Understood?" This young man was second only to her in the Wei family. Even though he was from a branch family, he was talented. More importantly, he was very handsome. She didn't believe that the June family would look down on him. Logically speaking, a powerful family like the June family would definitely have marriage alliances with other continents. Unfortunately, among the continents, there was only one young lady in the East continent. One of the two young masters in the North continent was dead, and the other was disabled. The West continent was too weak. The young masters in the South continent and the Central continent already had wives. Grandpa June would never allow his granddaughter to become a concubine. That was why she had so much confidence in the Wei family. Yes, Sister Ling, the young man smiled faintly, and his eyes were filled with determination. "Let's go." Wei Ling took a deep breath and slowly walked into the courtyard. In the courtyard, it was noisy. Various forces had already sent people over, and there were also some acquaintances who were pretending to agree but secretly opposed to talk. "Wei, you have to remember one thing." Wei Ling stopped in her tracks and narrowed her eyes. "That man, Yi Jingxian, is my fiancé. If you see another woman beside him, don't be polite. Just scold her." If June Fengling heard what Wei Ling said, she would be furious. Even the most good-tempered person would not tolerate such shameless words. Since when did her husband become someone else's fiancé? Especially when this fiancé was self-proclaimed. Wei Ling wasn't talking to the handsome young man. Instead, she was talking to the girl beside her. After all, Wei Ling was the heir of the Wei clan. She wouldn't put herself in danger. Even if Yi Qi and June Fengling had committed a grave mistake, they were still in the June family's territory. If they were to cause trouble in the June family's territory, they would definitely incur the wrath of the June family. That was why she had brought Wei Yu along and pushed her to the heart of the struggle. "Young mistress." Wei Yu looked at Wei Ling timidly. She bit her lip, and her face was filled with worry. She was also a collateral relative, but her talent was extremely poor. Naturally, she was not qualified to call Wei Ling sister. Instead, she had to call her miss like a servant. "This is an order." Wei Ling's face darkened. "Don't forget that you're just a good-for-nothing. My Wei family has already done you justice by keeping you alive. If you want your parents to live well, you have to listen to me." Wei Yu's body trembled. She lowered her head and didn't say anything else. Seeing her like this, Wei Ling relaxed her tone. "Don't worry. I'm only asking you to say a few words. The June family won't do anything to you. In fact, they might even thank you for revealing the true colors of those people so that Miss Ling wouldn't be deceived." "Won't do anything to me?" Wei Yu smiled bitterly. "If that's the case, why didn't you stand up and say something? Why did you have to push me out?" No matter how unwilling she was, she knew that she could only listen to Wei Yu. Otherwise, she might implicate her parents in the Wei family. Chapter 1725. Sister Ling. Wei Feng frowned lightly. "This is not appropriate. No matter how bad Yi Qi and June Fengling's character is, no matter how blind Miss Ling is, this is the June family's territory. Even if Wei Yu were to go out and say these words, it would still implicate the Wei family." Wei Ling glanced at Wei Feng coldly. "I've already decided. You don't have to say anything else." In fact, Wei Ling had already made up her mind. The recent rumors had already spread. All she needed to do was add fuel to the fire, and Yi Qi and June Fengling's reputation would be ruined. By then, the June family would definitely kick them out. Wouldn't they be at her mercy? However, the Wei family had caused trouble at the June family's residence, and the June family would certainly be enraged. At that time, she would hand Wei Yu over to the June family, and she would apologize to them, and this matter would be over. Perhaps the June family would even be grateful to her. Godmother, there are so many powerful people in the June family this time. This is the first time I've seen so many powerful people. At this moment, a delicate voice came from not far away and fell into Wei Ling's ears. Wei Ling turned around and saw Yi Qi's excited face. Her lips curled into a mocking smile. You're really a country bumpkin, scared by such a scene. Wei Yu, those two women are Yi Qi and June Fengling. I'll leave them to you. Wei Yu bit her lips. She finally mustered up her courage and spoke in a sharp voice, perhaps because she thought of her parents. Isn't that Yi Qi, who has been famous in June City recently? Her voice was very sharp, and it was very obvious among the conversations of these people. For a moment, everyone stopped talking and looked at Wei Yu in astonishment. It was the first time Wei Yu was being stared at by these people. She was naturally a little nervous, but she still straightened her neck and said, Miss June was careless in making friends. That's why she was deceived by such a beautiful woman. This woman had affairs with others and was pregnant many times. But this cruel woman actually aborted the child. However, this is not even worse. It is said that Yi Qi's biological parents were angered to death by her. After angering her biological mother to death, she adopted an adoptive father and adoptive mother. Of course, this adoptive mother is not a good person either. In order to curry favor with the rich, she sold her adoptive daughter. Now, they entered the June family only for the June family's power. Poor Miss Ling was deceived by them. Wei Yu was a little afraid at first, but she became more and more energetic as she spoke. She even vented the anger that she had been suppressing for years on Yi Qi and June Fengling. These two women should be arrested and beaten to death. It is better than lying here. The entire courtyard was silent. Only Wei Yu Ling. Many of the people present were aware of the rumors that had been circulating around the June family, but no one had dared to cause trouble in the June family's residence. Therefore, when they saw the emotional Wei Yu, they were even more frightened by her. No matter how unbearable Yi Qi and June Fengling were, today was a good day for the June family. If they wanted to cause trouble, they should have chosen another time. Wasn't this equivalent to angering Grandpa June? Ling Feng, family Long Ling I. Yi Qi was trembling with anger. She had never been bullied like this in her life. But before Yi Qi could find trouble with Wei Yu, a petite figure appeared in front of Wei Yu. She raised her hand and slapped Wei Yu's face. How dare you? June Ling Er's face darkened. Her eyes were full of anger. Who allowed you to cause trouble in my June family? Chapter 17:26. In fact, June Ling had also heard these rumors. She had even told Yi Qi about it. However, Yi Qi did not care at that time. The June family ceremony was just a few days away. She would be able to distinguish who was right and who was wrong by then. However, she did not expect that the Wei family would dare to point at Yi Qi's nose and insult her at this time. It was precisely because of this that Yi Qi wanted to tear her apart. Wei Yu was so frightened that she fell to her knees. Her delicate body trembled. Miss Ling, I only wanted to expose this woman's true colors because I heard those rumors recently. I was afraid that you would be deceived. Don't be fooled by her false appearance. June Linger pointed at Wei Yu. Her lips trembled. She was obviously infuriated. You're talking nonsense. Qi is my. Before she could finish her words, a gentle voice cut in, interrupting what she was about to say. Linger, what happened? Jun Xian walked toward June Linger slowly with a smile on his face. Father. June Linger turned around and looked at Jun Xian. Her little face was filled with anger. The Wei family framed Qi. With the Jun family's influence, it was not difficult to find out the origin of the rumors. However, the Jun family was preparing for the ceremony at that time. So, they temporarily put this matter aside and planned to settle the score with the Wei family a few days later. Wei Yu hurriedly knelt in front of Jun Xian and kowtowed. Master Jun, please forgive me. I also heard the rumors outside. That's why? Rumors? Jun Xian's eyes flickered a few times. He smiled and asked, Can you tell me what the rumors are? June Linger rolled her eyes. Her father already knew the content of those rumors. Wasn't it unnecessary to ask now? It's Yi Chi. Wei Yu's face was a little pale. Although Jun Xian had a gentle smile on his face, the aura he exuded made her unable to move. Yi Chi has a bad reputation. She has many lovers outside. Those people are about to barge in. I also heard that she came to the Jun family with ulterior motives. Jun Xian smiled. However, he did not say anything. He looked at Jun Linger and Jun Fengling. It's getting late. The reunion banquet is about to begin. The old man is waiting for you in the banquet hall. He has something to announce later. As he spoke, Jun Xian winked at Jun Fengling with a mocking look in his eyes. I wonder what kind of expression those people who started the rumor will have when they hear what the old man is going to announce next. Mississippi, Wei Yu got up from the ground and turned to look at Wei Ling with a puzzled expression. Wei Ling thought for a moment and said, "Let's go in too." After all, it was an auspicious day for the Jun family. It was understandable that Jun Xian did not throw Jun Fengling and her daughter out. Moreover, he was giving Jun Linger face by doing so. Once the banquet was over, Jun Fengling and her daughter would not have an easy time. At the end of the day, the ceremony was just a banquet. The purpose of this banquet was to introduce Jun Fengling and the others to the world and record them in the family tree. This was why it was called a ceremony. At that moment, Jun Lintian had already heard the dispute outside. His old face turned cold, and he sneered. It seems like this banquet is destined to not be peaceful. Yun Xiao, who was peeling the grape skin for Yun Luofeng, suddenly heard Jun Lintian's words. His fingers paused for a moment before he skillfully peeled the grape skin for her and placed the glistening grape flesh into Yun Luofeng's ear. Chapter 17:27. The Yi and Yun families took their seats, and the other guests also entered the banquet hall. Apart from the seats reserved for a few continent lords, the seats were basically filled. West Continent's continent lord has arrived. The South Continent's continent lord has arrived. The Central Continent's continent lord has arrived. The East Continent's continent master has arrived. The North Continent's continent lord has arrived. Immediately after, a series of announcements came from outside the door. The continent lords of the various continents had also arrived. At that moment, everyone's eyes were filled with excitement as they looked towards the door. One had to know that it was the first time in hundreds of years that he had seen so many continent lords in one day. Today, their horizons have been broadened. Haha, congratulations to the Jun family's old master for finding his beloved daughter. A few middle-aged men walked in from outside the door. Other than the North Continent's continent lord who had a cold expression, the others all had smiles on their faces. Yun Luofeng did not notice anyone else. Her gaze landed on Hong Wan, who was following closely behind the East Continent's continent lord. Hong Wan also noticed Yun Luofeng's gaze. She winked at her, and a smile appeared on her beautiful face. Perhaps none of them had expected that the battle back then would cause them to get to know each other and become close friends. Old Mu, you're here too. Jun Lintian laughed out loud when he saw Mu Dong, who had just caught up to him. Mu Dong smiled faintly. How could I miss such a good day for the Jun family? Men, prepare seats for everyone. Jun Lintian's face was glowing with health, and his complexion was excellent. The gloominess from before had been swept away. Apart from the Beast Continent, it seems like all the continent masters are here. At the banquet, someone let out a sigh. Beast Continent? The Beast Continent has always been at odds with the humans. It's impossible for it to appear. One of them shook his head and said with certainty. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a dragon's roar came from the void, echoing through the entire sky. The Beast Continent's dragon clan has come to congratulate the Jun family on finding their beloved daughter. Beast Continent's dragon clan? Everyone's expressions changed. Among them, the people from the North Continent were the most excited. What kind of existence was the dragon clan? Not only were they powerful, but they were also proud and aloof. Who would have thought that the Beast Continent's dragon clan would come to the Jun family? The North Continent's lord's face darkened bit by bit. He kept consoling himself in his heart. So what if the Jun family has the protection of the dragon clan? The strength of the Holy Maiden tribe is not to be underestimated. They might not lose to the Beast Continent's dragon tribe. Unexpectedly, before he could walk out of his thoughts, another deafening sound rang out again. I didn't expect that your dragon clan would arrive first. I'm an elder of the Phoenix clan. I've come to congratulate the June family on the orders of our clan head. Phoenix clan? Heavens, even the Phoenix clan of the Beast Continent had come. How many forces has the June family made friends with? One must know that the spirit beasts of the Beast Continent were different from other people. These people would come to congratulate the June family for the sake of their reputation. However, the people of the Beast Continent had always been straightforward. So, they wouldn't come all the way here for the sake of reputation. Moreover, it was the Dragon Clan and the Phoenix Clan who had come. In an instant, two figures descended from the sky and quickly walked towards Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao. Among the two of them, one wore a green robe and was incomparably handsome, while the other wore a red robe and was exceptionally seductive. I am Dragon Clan's Longshi. Greetings, Master and Mistress. It was as if thunder had struck them. Everyone looked at the two men kneeling in front of Yun Luofeng. They were so shocked that they couldn't say a word. The North Continent's lord's body swayed a few times. Fortunately, Ling Shuang, who was behind him, supported him and prevented him from collapsing. Chapter 17:28. Jun Lintian's eyes widened with excitement. He never thought that the Dragon and Phoenix clans of the Beast Continent would send representatives to the June family's daughter recognition ceremony. What did this prove? It proved that the Beast Continent belonged to his grandson and granddaughter-in-law. Ahem! Jun Lintian coughed in excitement. You two, you came in a hurry and didn't prepare your seats. How about this? Let's ask the Wei family to give up 2 seats. Wei Ling's eyes widened in shock. There were so many people sitting here. Why should the Wei family give up their seats? However, she didn't dare to ask any questions and could only ask Wei Feng and Wei Yu to stand up. Thank you. Master Jun Longshi and Feng Qi didn't stand on ceremony and sat down. To them, it was the Wei family's good fortune to have them give up their seats. The West Continent's West Spirit Academy and the Central Continent's, which Demon Clan congratulates the Master. Just when everyone was excited about the arrival of the Dragon and Phoenix clans, another announcement came from outside the door. Whether it was the Continent Lords or the Dragon and Phoenix clans who came to congratulate her, Yun Luofeng's expression didn't change. Now, when she heard that the West Spirit Academy had come, she immediately stood up and stared at the door with her dark eyes. The first to enter was the West Spirit Academy. Not many people from the West Spirit Academy came. After all, the Academy still needed someone to guard it. Therefore, Elder Su Kong stood his ground and got the opportunity to come to the Jun family. Master, Yun Luofeng looked at Elder Su Kong and called out softly. She didn't live in the West Spirit Academy for too long, but she would never forget the masters who helped her in this life. Little girl, after 5 years, your growth has really made us look at you in a different light. The void smiled slightly. Back then, the Northern Continent wanted to make things difficult for your family, so I wanted to stop them with the others, who knew that something would happen to the West Spirit Academy halfway, so I didn't rush back. Fortunately, before I went back, I had already destroyed the experts sent by the Northern Continent, but I was unable to control what happened next. That's enough. Yun Luofeng smiled. Not long ago, when she was in the Beast Continent, the North Continent took the opportunity to send powerhouses to make things difficult for her family. But they were killed by the Jun family and the West Spirit Academy. Because of this, the Wuhui continent was saved from a disaster. Otherwise, before Yun Luofeng could leave the Beast Continent, the Yi clan would meet with a calamity. Hearing Void's words, the North Continent's Continent Lord's expression was extremely ugly. He had wanted his son to stand up and say a few words, but who knew that his son's eyes were blank, and his face was filled with shock as he looked out the door. The North Continent's Continent Lord followed his gaze in confusion, and his expression changed instantly. The saintess of the witch-demon race, Huang Yingying, has come to congratulate the Jun family. Under Ling Shuang's shocked gaze, Huang Yingying led a group of people to Jun Lintian and cupped her fists respectfully. Ha ha! Jun Lintian burst into laughter. So you're the holy lady of the shaman demon tribe. You really do live up to your reputation. Huang Yingying smiled slightly. Not only am I the Witch Demon Tribe's holy maiden, but I am also Yun Luofeng's maid. In this life, no matter what I achieve, I will only be loyal to her. In the entire banquet hall, apart from the people from the North Continent who looked embarrassed, everyone else was surprised. In the Central Continent, the Shaman Demon Tribe would not lose to the Central Continent's Continent Lord. But Huang Yingying, as the Witch Demon Tribe's holy maiden, was actually Yun Luofeng's maid? How could this be? Ling Shuang shook his head, his face pale. Huang Yingying is the Witch Demon Tribe's holy maiden? How could this be? Chapter 1729. The North Continent's Lord's face was equally ugly. If he had known about Huang Yingying's identity, he would not have stopped his son from dating her. What happened next would not have happened at that moment. The North Continent's Lord, who was filled with remorse, did not know that his son hated him. Ling Shuang had always liked Huang Yingying. If not for his father's disapproval, she would have been his wife long ago. Huang Yingying's status was originally low, so his father's disapproval was not wrong. But now, after knowing that Huang Yingying was the Witch Demon Tribe Saintess, Ling Shuang felt as if his heart was being scratched by a claw. It was painful. However, Huang Yingying did not even look at him, as if she did not know of his existence. Everyone should be here. Grandpa Jun curled up the corners of his lips. Next, I have something to say. In an instant, the banquet hall quietened down. Everyone's eyes fell on Grandpa Jun's face. Recently, there has been a rumor in Jun City. It is said that Yi Chi of my family has been behaving inappropriately. She had an affair with someone and had a child in secret, angering her parents to death. Her adoptive mother is extremely snobbish, planning to use her to curry favor with the strong. Wei Ling's eyes lit up. She did not expect Grandpa Jun to mention this in front of so many strong people. With this, Yi Chi and Jun Fengling's reputation would be ruined. Moreover, I heard the commotion outside just now. Little girl from the Wei family, I only have one question for you. Do you think that these rumors are true? Grandpa Jun looked at Wei Yu and asked with an expressionless face. Wei Yu's body trembled. She subconsciously looked at Wei Ling. When she saw the warning in the other's eyes, she shuddered and came back to her senses. Old master, these are just rumors. I don't know if they're true or not, but... She paused and said embarrassedly, I heard a man talking about Yi Chi's body, and he even described those filthy topics. He even knew what Yi Chi liked to do and how lewd she was in bed. He even said, at that moment, Wei Yu only noticed the admiration in Wei Ling's eyes. She did not notice the daggers in the Jun family's eyes. Grandpa Jun smiled coldly. Then, did you hear how many years Chi-Chi has been together with him? This? I'm not sure. I only heard that Yi Chi met him a year ago. The night they met, they slept together. And during that period, she changed many men. Impudent! Bang! Grandpa Jun's palm landed on the table. In an instant, the entire table broke into pieces. His old face turned ashen. Chi-Chi came here 2 months ago, but you're saying that she had an affair a year ago? Wei Yu stared blankly for a moment. She didn't understand the meaning behind Grandpa Jun's words. But she still tried to defend herself. Old Lord, it's true that she came to the Jun family 2 months ago. But she had an affair with someone else a year ago. Grandpa Jun laughed. It was obvious that he was angered by Wei Yu. Although Yi Chi was Jun Fengling's adopted daughter, Jun Fengling had always treated her as his own daughter. How dare these people slander her with such words? Do you know where Chi-Chi came from? Grandpa Jun smiled mockingly. This girl does not belong to the 7 continents. She has only been in the 7 continents for 2 months. The man you were talking about, how did he get to know her a year ago? Chapter 1730. Wei Yu was stunned. Her eyes widened in astonishment, and her body trembled at this moment. He said that Yi Chi came to the 7 continents 2 months ago. What did that mean? Wei Ling's eyes were also full of astonishment. For some reason, a feeling of uneasiness gradually emerged in her heart. Grandpa Jun sneered and waved at Yi Chi. Chi-Chi, come to Grandpa. Today, Grandpa will help you and your mother vent your anger. Grandpa? Boom! Like a bolt of lightning striking down, Wei Ling's palm trembled and directly knocked over the cup of tea beside her hand. The boiling hot tea fell on the back of her hand, but she didn't feel it at all. Her whole body trembled slightly. Yi Qi was Grandpa Jun's granddaughter? In other words, Jun Fengling impossible. This was impossible. How could Jun Fengling have such a powerful identity? She didn't believe it. Father. Seeing Wei Ling's pale face, Jun Fengling smiled slightly and walked slowly toward Grandpa Jun. These remarks were spread by the Wei family. The purpose is to slander my daughter so that the Jun family will drive Chi-Chi and me out. Then, the Wei family can lay their hands on me and even steal my husband. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the Wei family. Even the North Continent, which was still regretting before, was attracted by the sudden change. Steal the husband of the Jun family's eldest daughter? TSK, this girl from the Wei family is so bold. She completely doesn't want to live. No. Wei Ling stood up instantly. Her lips were pale, and she trembled so much that she couldn't even finish a sentence. Her heart was filled with fear, and she wanted to smash her head against the wall. Jun Fengling ignored Wei Ling's weak explanation and said again, "Back then, Brother Chun and I met the eldest daughter of the Wei family. Moreover, the eldest daughter of the Wei family fell in love with Brother Chun at first sight. She forced Brother Chun and I to enter the Wei family. Of course, she didn't let us enter the Wei family because she wanted to take care of us. Instead, she wanted Brother Chun to marry her. As for me, she was very understanding and said that she would allow me to be Brother Chen's concubine." Everyone in the banquet hall was dumbfounded by these comments. They had thought that Wei Ling was bold enough to snatch the husband of the eldest daughter of the Jun family. They had never imagined that she would dare to make the eldest daughter of the Jun family a concubine. He didn't know where she got the courage and confidence to say such words. Father-in-law, Yi Jingxun stood up at this moment, his handsome face still carrying a gentle smile. The eldest lady of the Wei family also said that the Wei family is one of the most powerful families in Jun City, and that she is the successor of the Wei family. If I marry her, it would be equivalent to marrying the entire Wei family, and I would have unparalleled power. She also said that if I am smart, I would know what choice is best for me. Grandpa Jun's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Every time Jun Fengling and Yi Jingxun spoke, the anger in his heart rose. "Is my Jun family not as good as your Wei family?" Grandpa Jun gritted his teeth. "If my son-in-law doesn't choose you, it proves that he is not smart enough, right?" Wei Ling's face was as white as paper. She took a few steps back and knocked over the candlestick behind her. Sparks flew everywhere and burned the back of her hand. Wei Yu also fell to the ground, her face filled with despair. She had never thought that by obeying Wei Ling's orders, she would not only destroy her entire life, she would also destroy the entire Wei family. At this moment, Yun Luofeng, who was sitting beside Grandpa Jun, finally moved. She slowly stood up from her chair and said, "The rumors that have been spreading for the past few days, why didn't any of you hear me?" She did not know that her mother and sister would be slandered to such an extent. Chapter 1731. Sister Yin, you were in seclusion all that time. When you came out, you were busy with the ceremony. That's why I didn't have time to tell you about these things. Jun Linger explained in a low voice. Now that I know about it, I must seek justice for my mother. Yun Luofeng's lips curved slightly as he turned to look at the Wei family. A cold light flashed in his narrowed eyes. Wei Ling felt her head explode when she saw the look in the woman's eyes. Her entire body trembled. She would rather offend the king of hell than Yun Luofeng. She had told Uncle Wei this before. But now, she was the one who had offended this woman who was even more terrifying than the king of hell. When the king of hell wanted someone's life, he would at most kill them. But she would make them wish they were dead. Thump. Wei Ling knelt on the ground in fear. She sobbed. "Miss Yun, Master Jun, I really didn't know about the relationship between Jun Fengling and the Jun family. That's why I made such a mistake. Please forgive me." She knew that any excuse would be useless in front of the June family. She might as well admit her mistake. Perhaps Grandpa June would forgive her on account that she hadn't heard June phone ling. The funny thing was that Wei Ling didn't know that ruining her reputation was also a form of harm. Yun Luofeng glanced at the kneeling Wei Ling. So you mean that if my mother wasn't a member of the June family, then she deserved to have her husband stolen by you? And she deserved to be a concubine? Wei Ling's face paled. She couldn't speak for a moment. Yun Luofeng approached Wei Ling slowly. You're begging for forgiveness now. If my mother didn't have a powerful background to back her up, would you let her go? Wei Ling's body trembled as she felt the approaching aura. She wanted to bury her head in the ground. If you won't let her go, then why should we let you go? Yun Luofeng lifted his chin and looked down at the kneeling Wei Ling. Anyone who makes a mistake must pay the price. Wei Ling looked up and saw the murderous look in Yun Luofeng's eyes. She was shocked and kowtowed to the ground. Miss Yun, please let me go. I'm willing to serve you as a slave. Yun Luofeng slowly squatted down, his slender fingers tightly grasping Wei Ling's chin, forcing her to open her mouth. If this tongue of yours is only used to frame others, then there's no need to keep it. Oh, Wei Ling's eyes were full of fear, but she couldn't utter a single word. Then, before she could react, a ray of light flashed by, and she felt pain on her tongue. Warm blood splashed out and dyed the ground red. Woo-woo! She hurriedly covered her bleeding mouth, and her body kept trembling, but she could no longer say a word. Old master, Yun Luofeng let go of her after cutting off her tongue, and said slowly, let the June family handle the Wei family. I don't want to dirty my hands any further. Anyone who made a mistake must pay the price. No one would condone the Wei clan's willfulness and arrogance. Men, drag these 3 people from the Wei clan away. We'll deal with them after the reunion banquet. Grandpa June waved his hand and ordered impatiently. Even though he didn't say anything, everyone present knew that from now on, the Wei clan would probably be removed from June City and cease to exist. Chapter 1732. Hee. Mu Dong chuckled. I didn't expect to see such a good show at the June residence. All right, before that, I have to congratulate Jun Xian. As soon as Mu Dong finished speaking, everyone turned to look at Jun Xian. Jun Xian was dumbfounded. Congratulate him? Did he do something big? Oh! Grandpa June was surprised. What did Xian do? Why don't I, as his master, know about it? Mu Dong's smile disappeared, and he snorted angrily. Old man June, how long are you going to hide it? The June family made such a big commotion 2 days ago. Did you think you could hide it from me? What's the point of hiding it? I came to congratulate Jun Xian for breaking through to the high-level Saint Monarch. You're still pretending not to know? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. I've been friends with Grandpa June for so many years. How dare he hide it from me? This old man clearly doesn't treat me as a good friend. Elder Mu, are you mistaken? I didn't break through to the high-level Saint Monarch. Jun Xian was stunned and hurriedly tried to defend himself. Jun Xian. This time, Mu Dong was really angry. He roared angrily. I saw it with my own eyes. You still want to hide it from us? No, Elder Mu, I really didn't break through. Jun Xian wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said anxiously, Xiao Feng, is the one who broke through, not me. You brat? You mean that I saw wrongly? Before he could say these 3 words, Mu Dong suddenly came back to his senses. His eyes suddenly widened to the size of copper bells, and his entire mouth opened wide. He was so shocked that he couldn't even form a complete sentence. You, what did he just say? The one who broke through wasn't him, but Yun Luofeng? How old is Yun Luofeng? She's only around 24 years old. Jun Xian actually said that she was the one who broke through to the high-level Saint Monarch? Jun Xian, what did you just say? Say it again. Mu Dong forced himself to calm down and continued to ask. Elder Mu, Jun Xian revealed a smile. You really misunderstood me and Master. If I really broke through, Master wouldn't hide such a big thing from you. This time, it really wasn't me who broke through. It was Feng. Mudong turned his head mechanically and stared blankly at the young girl in white robes. He asked in a daze, "Yin Lass, is it really you who broke through to the high-level Saint Monarch realm?" Breaking through in seclusion in the back mountains was a huge matter. Yun Luofeng knew that news would spread, so she did not deny it and nodded lightly. When she nodded, the entire crowd burst into an uproar. They were so shocked that they couldn't even say a word. Heavens, a 24-year-old Saint Monarch is truly unprecedented. Why would such a prodigy appear in the Jun family? For a time, the crowd was filled with regret, jealousy, and excitement. Elder Void wanted to open his mouth a few times, but in the end, he did not say anything. However, his old face was filled with gratification. 5 years ago, from the moment they accepted Yun Luofeng, they never imagined that this young girl would one day grow to such a powerful level. He was so strong that he caused others to have a whole new level of respect for him. Congratulations. Hong Wan slowly walked forward with an excited smile on her face. That expression made her seem even more excited than her own breakthrough. However, she paused and continued, "One day, I will catch up to you." Chapter 1733. Yun Luofeng looked at Hong Wan, who was walking towards him. The corners of his lips curled into an angle, and his jet-black eyes were filled with seriousness. "All right, I'll wait for you." Compared to the shock of the bystanders, the expressions of the people from the North Continent were extremely awkward. The North Continent's continent lord's hands trembled. He wanted to clench them several times, but he could not muster any strength. His eyes were filled with intense regret. Of course, he wasn't regretting making an enemy out of Yun Luofeng. Instead, he was regretting that he hadn't recklessly killed her back in the East Continent. High-level Saint Monarch. Ling Shuang muttered to himself. From his expression, it was clear that he had suffered a huge blow. Then, a bitter smile appeared on his face. "She's already a high-level Saint Monarch. This time, how are we going to go against her?" The North Continent's continent lord had already regained his senses. "Don't forget, we still have the support of the Sacred Maiden tribe. I don't believe that the Sacred Maiden tribe can't deal with this girl." "Father, Yun Luofeng isn't just a high-level Saint Monarch. She also has the Dragon race and Phoenix race." Ling Shuang deliberately lowered his voice, but it wasn't hard to hear the trembling in his voice. If it weren't for his father and brother, how could he have lost Huang Yingying and fallen into such a situation? All of this was their fault. The North Continent's continent lord snorted. The previous matriarch of the Sacred Maiden tribe was a half-step into the Void Realm expert. The Sacred Maiden tribe must have other trump cards, or else they wouldn't have been able to stand for so many years. Although he said so, he didn't have much confidence in himself. If Yun Luofeng had only broken through to the high-level Saint Monarch realm, the Holy Maiden tribe might have been able to kill him. But now, the Dragon clan and the Phoenix clan had already surrendered to them. Even if the Sacred Maiden clan appeared, they might not be able to subdue him. Just as the Lord of the North Continent was trying to convince himself, a beautiful voice came from outside the door. "The Holy Maiden tribe has come to congratulate the Jun family." At that moment, the North Continent's continent lord's gloomy eyes lit up, and he smiled smugly. "The Sacred Maiden tribe is here. Even if the Sacred Maiden tribe cannot kill Yun Luofeng, they can still make him suffer heavy losses." The North Continent's continent lord laughed out loud, stood up from his seat, and walked out of the door. Under the sky, a group of beautiful women slowly descended from the void. The person in the lead was an old woman in green. She had white hair, a youthful complexion, and a sage-like demeanor. She walked with her hands behind her back and her back straight. She led the group of maids in white behind her into the banquet hall. Ling Zhu, the master of the North Continent, greets Elder Green-Robed of the Holy Goddess tribe. Ling Zhu cupped his fists, a respectful expression on his face. As the North Continent's continent lord, he had reached the high-level Saint Monarch realm many years ago. But at this moment, facing this Sacred Maiden tribe elder, he found it difficult to breathe. Could it be that this old fellow was already half a step into the Void Realm? No way. Ever since the patriarch of the Holy Maiden tribe left, There had been no more half-step into Void Realm cultivators. It was probably this old guy's special cultivation method that gave him such a feeling. Yes, among the 3 elders of the Sacred Maiden tribe, the green-clothed elder was the one with the best temper. Hence, when she saw Ling Zhu, who came to strike up a conversation, she nodded to him with a good temper. If it was the green-clothed elder, who was the most irascible, she would have already cursed it out loud. However, the green-clothed elder obviously did not want to say anything more to Ling Zhu. She walked towards Grandpa Jun unexpectedly. Ling Zhu untactfully stood in front of the green-clothed elder, with no intention of letting her pass. Green-clothed elder, you're finally here. I couldn't get in touch with Lady Qin Shui during this period of time, so I hastily guessed that something had happened to the Sacred Maiden tribe. But now, it seems that the matter has been resolved. Ling Zhu's face was full of smiles. This is just right. Yun Luofeng has returned to the Jun family. Your Sacred Maiden tribe can send people to kill him now. Chapter 1734. When Qin Shui joined forces with the North Continent, she had told him about her feud with Yun Luofeng. What Ling Zhu did not expect was that Yun Luofeng would be so bold as to attack the successor of the Sacred Lady tribe. Wasn't he looking for death? The Sacred Lady tribe must have come to deal with Yun Luofeng. Feng. Yun Luofeng stood up impatiently, his old face full of anger. Was there no end to the Sacred Lady tribe? First, they went to the Yun family to capture someone, and now they came uninvited. Did they really think that their granddaughter had no subordinates? Yun Xingya and Ning Xian also stood beside Yun Luofeng, staring at the Sacred Lady tribe warily. After all, they had only been at the Jun family for 2 days, and there were many things they did not know. Yi Chi had also not told them about this. Elder Greenrobe's face darkened. No matter how well-mannered she was, she could not help but be angry. Who do you think you are? Get out! Ling Zhu was stunned. This elder of the Sacred Maiden tribe really had a bad temper. Could it be that she was angry because he could not help the Sacred Lady tribe? Thinking of this, Ling Zhu smiled. Elder Green-Robed, this time, the North Continent is really useless and could not help the Sacred Lady tribe. Since you are here, then Yun Luofeng will be dealt with by you yourselves. After all, he killed the successor of the Sacred Lady tribe. Yun Luofeng killed the successor of the Sacred Lady tribe? Those who did not know the situation were already stunned. They looked at Yun Luofeng in astonishment. They did not know whether to say that she did not know what was going on, or that she was extremely bold. She dared to kill the successor of the Sacred Lady tribe. Wasn't this asking the Sacred Lady tribe to kill her? At this moment, Hong Wan had already regained her composure. She silently walked to Yun Luofeng's side, using her actions to explain her choice. Seeing her daughter like this, Hong Ling only smiled bitterly, but did not stop her. His daughter was all grown up and had her own choices. He could not restrict her like before, otherwise he would only let his only daughter go far away from him. Girl. Elder Su Kong pondered for a moment, then suddenly said, no matter what, the West Spirit Academy will always be your support. We old fellows will always be your masters. This will not change. In other words, if the Sacred Maiden tribe were to become enemies with Yun Luofeng, then he would be the first to stand on Yun Luofeng's side. Mu Dong laughed. Little Yun is Grandpa Jun's lifeblood. As Grandpa Jun's bosom friend, I will definitely protect you. Elder Mu, the continent master of the Central Continent's expression changed, and he hurriedly tried to stop him. Unexpectedly, Mu Dong's cold eyes swept over him, and his voice was stuck in his throat. In the beginning, Yun Luofeng didn't know Mu Dong's identity. However, she found out later on that Elder Mu was the master of the Central Continent's continent lord. He was also the previous continent lord. I've already decided on this matter. No one is allowed to interfere. There was no need to mention the Dragon and Phoenix clans. When they saw the Sacred Maiden tribe appear, they stood beside Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao like guards, silently performing their duties. The green-robed elder did not say a word. It wasn't that he didn't want to say it, but Ling Zhu's words scared him. When did she say she wanted to kill Yun Luofeng? Was this brat deliberately framing her? Actually, if Ling Zhu was facing someone else, perhaps the other party would understand the reason in a moment. But at this moment, the Sacred Maiden tribe was in front of him. The ignorant and extremely stupid Sacred Maiden tribe. Chapter 1735. Lord of the North Continent. The elder in green pointed angrily at Ling Zhu, her face full of hatred. Tell me, how did the Sacred Maiden tribe provoke you? Why did you frame the Sacred Maiden tribe? Huh? Ling Zhu was dumbfounded. When did he frame the Sacred Maiden tribe? The elder in green glared fiercely at Ling Zhu. Even the group of maids behind her looked at Ling Zhu coldly. Miss Yun. The elder in green no longer looked at Ling Zhu. She walked quickly towards Yun Luofeng. Her face was no longer angry and cold. It was now filled with a friendly smile. I heard that the Jun family is holding a banquet to recognize relatives today, so I came uninvited. I hope Miss Yun won't blame me. She looked around and saw Lin Ruobai hiding in a corner, gnawing on a roasted pig. She breathed a sigh of relief. Neither the Wei family's insult nor the arrival of the Sacred Maiden tribe attracted Lin Ruobai's attention. In her eyes, there was only the table of delicious food in front of her. However, when everyone saw the smiling face of the elder in green, they were petrified again. They didn't seem to understand what was going on. Hong Wan turned to Yun Luofeng in confusion. Didn't the Sacred Maiden tribe come looking for trouble? But looking at her appearance, it looked like she was here to curry favor. Compared to everyone else's shock, Ling Zhu and his son were already frozen. In their eyes, the Sacred Maiden tribe was their last trump card. When did the Sacred Maiden tribe become so close to Yun Luofeng? Lady Qin Shui shouldn't have lied to them. The elder in green ignored the looks of these people. She smiled and walked towards Lin Ruobai, who was gnawing on the roasted pig in the corner. Greetings, young master. As if she had heard the voice in front of her, Lin Ruobai raised her eyes in a daze. She raised her hand to wipe the grease off her mouth and turned to Yun Luofeng. Master, when did this guy come? Did the Jun family invite him? What made Lin Ruobai even angrier was that this group of bastards dared to disturb her while she was enjoying the food. Only the heavens knew that she hid in the corner to prevent anyone from disturbing her. These blind people were simply unforgivable. You came uninvited. Yun Luofeng curled the corner of his lips and said indifferently. Upon hearing this, Lin Ruobai was immediately enraged. She stood up angrily and pointed at the elder in green. I have already said that I don't want to see anyone from the Sacred Maiden tribe. I am not the young matriarch of the Sacred Maiden tribe. All of you scram. Little Imo patted Lin Ruobai's chest to soothe her anger. Xiaobai, don't bother with these people. Let's not look at her. I'll get you a piece of water chestnut cake. It was obvious that little Imo did not have a good impression of the Sacred Maiden tribe. Lin Ruobai pouted. I don't want to eat water chestnut cakes. I want to eat meat. Okay, then I'll let you eat my roasted suckling pig. Looking at the young couple, the green-robed elder's expression was a little awkward. Young clan leader, I'm here to ask for your forgiveness. I was too rude back then, so go away. Don't think that I don't know that you came to the Jun family to eat and drink. There's no place for you at today's banquet, so don't even think about stealing the food in front of me. Young clan leader, the green-robed elder's mouth twitched. I don't want to steal your food. Oh. Hearing this, Lin Ruobai heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he wasn't here to steal her food, Seeing that Lin Ruobai was ignoring him, the green-robed elder turned to Yun Luofeng awkwardly. Miss Yun, can you help me persuade the young clan leader? Chapter 1736. Yun Luofeng lay down lazily and leaned on Yun Zhao's body. Her eyes carried a demonic and lazy smile. Do you still remember what you said when we were at the Sacred Maiden tribe? Elder Greenrobe's face turned red. They had forced Yun Luofeng to keep Lin Ruobai and had treated her with disdain. Who knew that Lin Ruobai would give up the Sacred Maiden tribe without hesitation and choose to leave with her? Bang! Just as Elder Greenrobed was about to explain, she heard a figure behind her. She turned her head impatiently and frowned. North Continent's Continent Lord, how did I offend you? Why do you have to go against me? She watched as Ling Zhu lost his balance and fell to the ground on his buttocks. The muffled thud interrupted the green-robed elder's train of thought, which caused her to be enraged. Ling Zhu's face turned pale, and his eyes were filled with fear. He couldn't even utter a single word. Didn't Qin Shui say that Yun Luofeng killed the successor of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Then why did her disciple become the young clan leader of the Sacred Maiden tribe? Oh my God, what a stupid mistake he had made. Ling Shuang lowered his head and did not dare to look at everyone's eyes. He only felt that his face was flustered and very embarrassing. I remember that back in the North Continent, you wanted to go to the Wuhui continent to capture my family and use them to threaten me? Yun Luofeng stretched lazily and sat up lazily. The corners of his lips curled into an evil smile, and his black eyes were incomparably cold. Then how should we settle this debt with you personally? Ling Shuang subconsciously looked at his father, but found that his father could not make a sound under the gaze of Elder Green-Robed. Therefore, he could only bite the bullet and say, "You killed my brother and crippled me first. Otherwise, we would not want to take revenge on you." Yun Luofeng smiled slightly. "Then let me ask you, why did I kill your brother?" Ling Shuang was momentarily speechless. Yun Luofeng continued, "Your brother attacked first and slandered Huang Yingying, and I have always been vengeful. Those who hurt me will be smashed to pieces. Those who injure me will have their bones crushed." The woman's voice was domineering and powerful, causing a trace of shame to appear on Ling Shuang's face. He glared at his father with resentment, stood up, and said, "Looks like the Northern Continent can no longer stay here today. Since that's the case, let's go." After saying this, he led a group of people out of the door, but from beginning to end, he did not help his father who had fallen to the ground. However, he was stopped by the Jun family's guards as soon as he reached the door. Ling Shuang clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. "My brother did want to hurt you first, but the Northern Continent has already paid the price. What else do you want?" Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow and stood up from his chair. "I've already repaid you for the mistakes you made in the Northern Continent, but what about after that?" She narrowed her eyes, and a cold light flashed in them. "We'll settle the score now." After returning to the 7 continents for so many days, she had not settled the score with the North Continent. She had been waiting for this moment. So what if the North Continent could not carry out the plan? As long as she had this intention in her heart, she would not let it go. "Yun Luofeng, how dare you?" Ling Shuang was angry, and his voice was filled with fear. He looked at Yun Luofeng, who was approaching him, and his body gradually retreated. Chapter 1737. Yun Luofeng didn't seem to hear Ling Shuang's words. He stopped in front of him, and then, before Ling Shuang had time to react, Yun Luofeng's leg had already landed on his chest, sending him flying. Ling Shuang fell to the ground in a sorry state, vomiting blood nonstop. He was just about to run, but countless weapons were already pressed against his chest. They were bone-chilling, and he couldn't help but shiver. He knew that Yun Luofeng wouldn't be merciful to him, so he hurriedly looked at Huang Yingying with pleading eyes. "Yingying, for the sake of our previous love affair, please ask him to spare my life." In an instant, everyone's eyes turned to Huang Yingying. Everyone's eyes were filled with surprise. Perhaps they didn't expect that the young master of the North Continent's Continent Lord Manor had a love affair with the saintess of the Witch Demon tribe. When Huang Yingying heard this, she was so angry that her face turned pale. "Ling Shuang, don't slander my innocence. Back then, I just didn't know who you were, and that's why I was bewitched by you. Nothing happened between us." Love affair? How could it be a good word with the word marriage in it? Back then, she and Ling Shuang were indeed in love with each other, but she had always maintained her innocence. Before marrying him, she would never give up her body. But Ling Shuang's words caused everyone to misunderstand. They had been intimate. Huang Yingying, a day as husband and wife means 100 days of love. You can't be so heartless. Seeing Ling Shuang's unrepentant expression, Huang Yingying's body trembled slightly, and her beautiful eyes burst with intense anger. Let him go. At this moment, a cold voice came from the side. The weapons that were pressed against Ling Shuang's body were put away. The Jun family's guards retreated to the side, opening a path for Yun Luofeng. Ling Shuang was clearly relieved. That's right, he had said those words on purpose just now, and also deliberately let everyone think that Huang Yingying had been intimate with him. With Yun Luofeng's love for his subordinates, in order to prevent Huang Yingying's reputation from being ruined, he would definitely marry Huang Yingying to him. Unfortunately, he had forgotten that the person standing in front of him was Yun Luofeng, the Yun Luofeng who had never been afraid of the secular world. Moreover, at this banquet, not only had the Dragon and Phoenix clans sent representatives, even the young clan leader of the Sacred Maiden tribe was Yun Luofeng's disciple. How could they mock and ridicule Huang Yingying just because of a few words from Ling Shuang? Miss Yunai, bang! Before he finished speaking, Yun Luofeng kicked Ling Shuang in the mouth. He cried out in pain and spat out a mouthful of blood. Among the bloodstains, there were blood-stained teeth. The people of the North Continent are really birds of a feather. Back then, your brother slandered Huang Yingying for stealing items from the North Continent's Lord Mansion. Now, you want to slander her? The fear in Ling Shuang's eyes deepened, and his body trembled uncontrollably. His hand tightly covered his bleeding mouth, and his voice became indistinct, so much so that no one could understand what he was saying. Since your mouth is used to falsely accuse others, then I'll beat you until you can't speak anymore. Well, Ling Shuang retreated in fear, but there was a flight of stairs behind him. He staggered and rolled down the stairs, pathetically rolling a few times on the ground. When he finally stopped, he wanted to get up, but at this moment, a foot had already stepped on his chest. Pfft. The woman twisted her foot, and he felt pain in his internal organs. He spat out another mouthful of blood, and his face was extremely pale. Chapter 1738. Huang Yingying turned her head away, refusing to look at Ling Shuang. The Northern Continent had brought all of this upon themselves. Back then, in order to find Hong Luan, Yun Luofeng had already spared the Northern Continent. Who would have thought that they would still want revenge? If this wasn't what they had brought upon themselves, then what was? When Ling Shuang fainted from Yun Luofeng's stomp, she slowly moved her foot away and promptly handed her a handkerchief. Wipe it, lest your feet get dirty. The man's hoarse voice was low and deep, but it was filled with warmth. Even his pair of cold eyes were filled with light. It seemed that only in front of Yun Luofeng his eyes would shine with such a dazzling light. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up into a smile. He took the handkerchief from the man and placed it on the ground. He used a shoe to rub the handkerchief a few times until the blood stains were wiped clean. I'll handle the rest. The man turned his head and cast a cold glance at Feng Qi. He didn't say a word, but Feng Qi understood his order. Master, I'm going to bury this guy alive. Oh, that's right. There's also the Northern Continent's main residence. There's no need for it to exist anymore. At this moment, the hearts of the people of the Northern Continent turned ice cold. Some people were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground, peeing their pants. Yun Luofeng's black eyes were fixed on the man beside him. There was an inexplicable meaning in his eyes. You kill people, I'll bury their bodies. This was the promise that the man had once given her. All these years, he had indeed done so. Whenever she wanted to solve things herself, he would never interfere, nor would he stop her. He would only silently follow behind her and deal with the aftermath for her. Let's go, Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng smiled. Her smile was beautiful, so beautiful that Yun Xiao couldn't look away. It was as if he couldn't get enough of the woman beside him in the banquet hall. Grandpa Jun coughed twice and said with a smile, "Ladies of the Sacred Maiden tribe, it's enough for you to sit in the seats in the Northern Continent. Let's not be affected by those people. Next, I will introduce my daughter and grandchildren to you. I'm sure you already know about my daughter, Jun Fengling, my son-in-law, Yi Jingshun, and my granddaughter, Yi Qi." Grandpa Jun smiled and said in high spirits, "However, my daughter has a pair of twins. Little Xie, Jun come to Grandpa's side. As soon as June Lintian finished speaking, Yi Xie and Yi Jun stood up from their seats and walked over to him. Grandfather. The twins, Yi Jun and Yi Xie, both had cute smiles on their faces. Compared to Yi Jun, who looked steady, the older brother, Yi Xie, was more innocent. My dear child. June Lintian's bones melted when he heard the word grandfather, and the smile on his face widened. He held Yi Jun with one hand and Yi Xie with the other, wishing he could hold these two adorable little fellows in his arms forever. The people below couldn't help but have thoughts. Be it Yi Qi, Yi Jun, or Yi Xie, they were undoubtedly a bridge for them to curry favor with the Jun family. Although Yi Jun and Yi Xie were young, it didn't stop them from sending their children of the same age to befriend them. Moreover, it would be easier to hook up with them at such a young age. Xie or Jun sit on Grandpa's lap. You don't have to go to your parents. Grandpa Jun was all smiles. It wasn't hard for the crowd to see that Grandpa Jun had been in a good mood these days. Chapter 1739. Ahem. Grandpa Jun realized that he still had something to say, so he turned to the crowd below. I guess you all know Fomer. Let me introduce her fiancé, Yun Xiao. I'm afraid none of you have any impression of the name Yun Xiao. What about the title Ghost Emperor? Ghost Emperor? Hiss. Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Mu Dong was looking at Grandpa Jun with a flabbergasted expression. Ghost Emperor? You mean Yun Xiao is the Ghost Emperor? The world only knew the Ghost Emperor, not Yun Xiao. It was no wonder they were so shocked. For a moment, those who wanted to snatch Yun Luofeng away from Yun Xiao gave up on the idea. Snatching a woman from the Ghost Emperor, they did not have the guts. That's right, Xiao is the Ghost Emperor, and also my grandson. Mu Dong was stunned. If the Ghost Emperor is your grandson, then Yun Luofeng, that Yun girl is my granddaughter-in-law. Grandpa Jun pursed his lips. However, I like this girl very much. Although she is my granddaughter-in-law, I have always treated her as my own granddaughter. If I find out that anyone bullied her, this old man will immediately fight with them. As soon as he finished speaking, Grandpa Jun's cold eyes looked around, his voice filled with warning. Apart from those who were on good terms with Yun Luofeng, the people from the other forces all smiled bitterly. Bully Yun Luofeng? Who would have the guts to do so? Forget about the fact that she was Grandpa Jun's granddaughter-in-law. Even if she was not, no one would dare to provoke her. In addition, Grandpa Jun paused for a moment, then continued. I will introduce you to two more forces. One is the Yun family, the family of my granddaughter-in-law, Yun Luofeng. The other is the Yi family, the family of my daughter's husband. These two families represent the Jun family in the 7 continents. If I find out that anyone has offended them, don't blame my Jun family for killing them. Grandpa Jun's voice was powerful and resounding, his domineering aura soaring to the clouds, causing the people below to not dare utter a single word, especially those who were sitting with Yun Luofeng and Old Man Yi. Their intestines had turned green. If they had known that these two families belonged to Yun Luofeng and Jun Fengling, they would have thrown away their pride and gone over to suck up to them. Unfortunately, if he missed this chance, there wouldn't be another one. Grandpa Jun's gaze shifted and fell upon Yun Luo's aged face. A gentle smile appeared on his face. In-law Yun, should we discuss the marriage between little Yun and little Xiao? You see, the two of them aren't young anymore. Why don't we get married first? Yun Luo's eyes brightened. He slammed the table and stood up. All right, the 15th of the next month is a good day. Let them get married on that day. The 15th of the next month was only 20 days away from today. Even though he wanted Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao to get married earlier, he still needed to choose a good day. Fortunately, he had already made preparations beforehand so that he wouldn't have to choose another day. What does in-law Yi think? Jun Lintian turned to Old Man Yi and asked with a smile. Then I'll listen to Yun's family and do it for them on the 15th of next month. Old Master Yi seemed to have made up his mind. From the beginning to the end, the three old men did not ask for Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's opinion. They just minded their own business and decided on the date. By the time Yin Luofeng came back to his senses and wanted to say something, it was already too late. The three old men had already begun discussing how to hold the wedding. Chapter 1740. Don't you think it's a little rushed? After hesitating for a while, Yun Luofeng finally said something. Yun Luofeng glared. Rush what? Are you going back on your word? No, I only recognize Yun Xiao as my grandson-in-law. You must marry him. I agree with in-law Yun. You have 20 days to prepare. It's not rushed. You just wait to be your bride in peace. We'll take care of the rest. Jun Lintian waved his hand. Clearly, they weren't going to let Yun Luofeng voice her opinion. If it wasn't for the fact that there was no good date before the 15th of the next month, he would have brought forward the wedding. It would be best if it was tomorrow. Yun Luofeng's face darkened. She didn't even have the right to voice her opinion on her own wedding. The man's arm suddenly reached out from beside her and pulled her into his embrace in front of everyone's eyes. His voice was low and hoarse, but his words were very serious. They're right. I also feel that it's a little long until the 15th of the next month. Yun Luofeng felt the breath beside her ear, causing her body to become weak. She leaned against the man's chest. All right, then we'll get married on the 15th of the next month. Just as she finished speaking, the man beside her suddenly twisted her body. A pair of grim, pitch-black eyes were now filled with light. You'd agree? Even though the old men had already decided on a date for him, it was still not as important as Yun Luofeng's nod of approval. I agree. Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes slightly and raised her hand to grab the man's collar. But you have to promise me a few things. In the future, no matter what happens, you can't lie to me. You have to tell me the truth. Secondly, you have to listen to me in everything. Thirdly, you can only do it once a night. If you agree to these 3 requests, I'll marry you. I can promise you the first 2. But the third, Yun Xiao frowned. Can we do it 5 times? 2 times? No bargaining. Yun Luofeng gritted her teeth. Every time she was with Yun Xiao, she would be tormented to death by him every night. She really didn't know where this man got so much energy. For times, Yun Xiao's gaze was pitiful, like a puppy wagging its tail. 3 times? If you continue to bargain, then I'll forget about this marriage. All right, deal? Yun Xiao's black eyes were bright, and the corners of his lips curled into an arc. The woman's peerlessly beautiful figure was reflected in his black eyes. Although 3 times was a little less, it was still better than 1 time. Everyone in the banquet hall was dumbfounded when they saw the 2 of them discussing such an erotic topic as if no one else was present. Only the youths who had yet to experience the world didn't understand the meaning behind their words. Sister-in-law. Yi Xie raised her eyes and looked at Yun Luofeng in confusion. What are you and second brother discussing? Yun Xiao glanced at Yi Xie. You will understand when you get married. After saying this, Yun Xiao put her arm around Yun Luofeng's waist. Feng, should we fulfill our promise tonight? The people who had been paying attention to the 2 of them subconsciously turned their heads when they heard Yun Xiao's words. They didn't look at them anymore, as if they hadn't heard anything. However, just as Yun Xiao was about to leave with Yun Luofeng, an untimely voice suddenly rang out. Little Yun, I've come this time because I have something to tell you. Su Kong's expression was solemn. When will you have time? Chapter 1741. Yun Luofeng paused and turned to look at Su Kong. Master, is there anything else? This? Su Kong looked hesitant. He wanted to say something, but in the end he sighed and said, I just want to ask you, when will you have time to visit West Spirit Academy? Your other masters miss you very much. All right, after I get married, I will visit them. Indeed, it had been 5 years since she left West Spirit Academy. It was time to go back and visit. Su Kong nodded slightly. There are still some things to do in West Spirit Academy. I'm afraid you won't be able to make it on the day of your wedding. However, the masters will definitely send gifts. Even today, he had made time to come over. The others were left in West Spirit Academy. Yun Luofeng's eyes showed a trace of doubt. He felt that Su Kong was hiding something from him. However, he was not the kind of person to get to the bottom of things. If the other party was not willing to say it, he would not ask. Master, a teacher for a day, a father for life. If West Spirit Academy needs it, I will rush over even if I'm 1,000 miles away. She did not say it out loud, but she made it very clear what she meant. If West Spirit Academy needed it, she would do her best to help. Su Kong smiled helplessly. This girl was always so meticulous. He had only hesitated for a moment, and she had seen through it. But if Yun Luofeng was not married, then perhaps he would have asked for her help. Now, this girl's wedding day was approaching, and this matter could not be resolved overnight. So, after thinking for a long time, he decided not to say for the time being. Girl, there's nothing important. After you get married, I will wait for you at West Spirit Academy. Su Kong smiled. I won't stay any longer today. Goodbye. After saying these words, Su Kong cupped his fists towards Grandpa Jun and left. Grandfather Jun knew that Su Kong had urgent matters to attend to, so he did not stop him. Instead, he let Jun Xian send him out of the city. Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng looked at Su Kong's departing figure and frowned slightly. Do you think West Spirit Academy is in troubles? Yun Xiao pondered for a moment. I'm not sure. I'll let Fichi follow. If West Spirit Academy really needs it, let him help. That's good. Yun Luofeng nodded lightly. In reality, if West Spirit Academy had really met with an extremely urgent crisis, then the Void would definitely have announced it on the spot. Since they could delay it for 20 days, it also proved that this crisis was not over yet. The next day, dawn. Yun Luofeng had just walked out of the courtyard when she saw Mo Qianqing standing in front of her door with a bitter face. When he saw Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao walk out together, a wave of jealousy rose in his heart. However, he did not even look at Yun Xiao. His pitch-black eyes stared unblinkingly at Yun Luofeng. Are you really getting married? Yes. Speaking of which, Yun Luofeng felt remorseful for deceiving Mo Qianqing that day. However, he did not feel guilty. If not for Mo Qianqing's delusions of harming Zhu Qian, how could he have been trapped for 1,000 years? In that illusion, if he had not injured Ji Jiutian, she would not have lied to him in order to save Ji Jiutian. A pitiful person must have a hateful side. She really could not sympathize with Mo Qianqing. You're actually really getting married. Mo Qianqing's eyes were filled with tears as he bit his lips tightly. He seemed to have made up his mind as he stared fiercely at Yun Xiao. It doesn't matter if she marries you now. I don't care. Wait until the day I recover my strength. I will snatch her back. Chapter 1742. Yun Xiao looked coldly at Mo Qianqing and did not put this arrogant little boy in his eyes at all. You have no chance. He would not give anyone a chance to hurt her. Mo Qianqing snorted and looked at Yun Luofeng again. I don't care if you are a man or a woman. I only love Zhu Qian. 1,000 years ago, I could love him without caring about the world. 1,000 years later, I still don't care if you are married or not. In the illusion, I have waited for you for 1,000 years. Even though I have been trying to convince myself that I hate you, I cannot hide my true feelings. So, I don't mind waiting for you for a few more years. When I recover my strength, I will snatch you back. Yun Luofeng looked at Mo Qianqing and unconsciously sighed. I really am not Zhu Qian. Back then, I only lied to you to save Ji Jiutian. If you don't believe me, you can ask Ji Jiutian. Mo Qianqing shook his head, his face full of determination. I don't believe your words. You are Zhu Qian. This fellow was really stubborn to the point of death. To tell you the truth, the reason why Zhu Qian let me inherit his abilities was because I promised him one thing. Yun Luofeng's expression was very helpless. That is, I promised him that I would find his reincarnated person. Moreover, I have seen Zhu Qian's remnant soul. His remnant soul even saved my life once. At this moment, Yun Luofeng's mind was filled with the man's arrogant attitude, dressed in red, peerless and beautiful, looking down on the world. He was like a demon god that had walked out of a painting, able to instantly kill all the strong cultivators in the world with just a wave of his hand. It was no wonder that Mo Qianqing, who was also a man, would fall for him. But Yun Luofeng subconsciously looked at the cold man beside him, and his lips curled into a smile. Compared to a domineering and arrogant man like Zhu Qian, she preferred a cold and adorable man like Yun Xiao. Mo Qiansheng took 2 steps back as he looked at Yun Luofeng with teary eyes. You lied to me because you wanted to marry him, right? He pointed at the man standing beside Yun Luofeng and said in a trembling voice. Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow. Ji Jiutian is at West Spirit Academy. You can ask him. Mo Qiansheng clenched her fists tightly, and her adorable little face was deathly pale. Only the heavens knew the excitement and agitation in his heart when he found out that Yun Luofeng was Zhu Qian. Especially now that she was a woman, she probably wouldn't reject him because of scruples. But now, the woman's words were like a heavy blow to his head, causing his mind to instantly go blank. All right, I'll go find Ji Jiutian. I must get to the bottom of this. Mo Qiansheng looked back at Yun Luofeng, then turned around and ran out of the Jun residence. Right now, only Ji Jiutian could prove Yun Luofeng's true identity. Now that he's gone, we don't have to worry about anyone disrupting the wedding. Yun Luofeng turned to look at Yun Xiao and said, Yun Xiao, do you think I'm being too ruthless? There was only one reason why she asked Mo Qiansheng to look for Ji Jiutian, and that was because she did not want anyone to disrupt the wedding. He's my rival in love. Yun Xiao raised his hand and pulled Yun Luofeng into his embrace. But you're still asking me if you're too ruthless? Furthermore, he's reaping what he sowed. Yun Luofeng had previously told Yun Xiao about Mo Qiansheng's matters, including Zhu Qian's inheritance. Hence, Yun Xiao was very disdainful of Mo Qiansheng's actions. He wanted to hurt the other party when he couldn't get what he loved. No wonder Zhu Qian wouldn't accept him. Yun Xiao's voice paused. Furthermore, Zhu Qian had already shown mercy. He only locked him up for 1,000 years and didn't do anything to him. Chapter 1743. A trace of flattery flashed through Yun Luofeng's eyes as he asked with a faint smile, If I hadn't accepted you back then, what would you have done? I'll stay by your side until you accept me. Yun Xiao replied very seriously, Aren't you afraid that another man will appear by my side? With me by your side, how can the others appear? A cold light flickered in the depths of Yun Xiao's eyes. If anyone dares to have any ideas about you, I will make it so that they won't be able to take care of themselves. Really? Yun Luofeng stroked his chin, and the smile in his eyes deepened. That's right. I won't let anyone have any designs on you. At the same time, I won't be like Mo Qiansheng, wanting to hurt you just because I can't get my hands on you. Yun Xiao pressed down on Yun Luofeng's shoulder and said in a serious tone, I will only hurt others, but I won't bear to hurt you, even if you don't accept me. Not accepting him? That was simple. He would continue to move her. However, because Zhu Qian was unwilling to accept him, Mo Qiansheng allied with outsiders to deal with him. So what if he went back on his word? If he ever had such thoughts, then it was impossible to erase this stain. As for Yun Luofeng pretending to be Zhu Qian, Yun Xiao did not think that she had done anything wrong. Back then, in the illusion, Mo Qiansheng had transferred his hatred to Zhu Qian because Ji Jiutian was Zhu Qian's good friend and Yun Luofeng was Zhu Qian's successor. If Yun Luofeng had not impersonated Zhu Qian at the last minute, perhaps she would have already died in Mo Qiansheng's hands. At the thought of this, Yun Xiao's face turned cold and his eyes flashed with murderous intent. If Mo Qiansheng had designs on Feng again, then even if he had to take the risk, he would still kill him. Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng sighed softly. I promised Zhu Qian that I would find his reincarnated person. He even told me that when I see his reincarnated person one day, I would naturally be able to sense it. However, so many years have passed, and I still haven't found him. Yun Xiao's eyebrows twitched, and the hand holding Yun Luofeng's shoulder tightened slightly. If fate wills it, we will eventually meet again. I hope so. In this life, there were not many people that Yun Luofeng admired, but Zhu Qian was one of them. It wasn't just because Zhu Qian had created this puppet. More importantly, it was because he had accepted his inheritance. Therefore, she wanted to see Zhu Qian's reincarnation more than anyone else. Even if his reincarnation was a good-for-nothing, She would protect him for the rest of her life. Feng, in 20 days, it will be our wedding ceremony. Yun Zhao's lips curled. Then should we start making babies? Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. Do you prefer a son or a daughter? If you give birth to a daughter, then I will definitely spoil her. Even if I have to devote my entire life, I will protect you and your mother. If it's a son, Yun Xiao hesitated for a moment, then said, then he must be able to work in the kitchen, enter the hall, chase away his love rivals, and protect his wife. So, I reckon that I will teach him a harsh lesson. Can you go into the kitchen? Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and asked with a faint smile. Yun Xiao nodded. A man must have culinary skills so that his wife can enjoy delicacies to the fullest. Yun Luofeng felt that if he really had a son, he would definitely sympathize with him. After becoming his son, he would definitely not have a good life. However, she liked Yun Zhao's way of doing things. Yun Xiao, I'm hungry. Yun Luofeng's body was a little lazy. Chapter 1744. I'll prepare breakfast for you. Yun Zhao's voice was very gentle. To him, preparing breakfast for his wife was an extremely happy thing. Therefore, he had been doing his best to prepare meals for Yun Luofeng these days and never let anyone interfere. As a result, Yun Luofeng would not enjoy the meals made by others every time they parted. Fortunately, Yun Luofeng's current actions could fill her body with spiritual energy, so she would not feel hungry. The news that Yun Xiao was a ghost emperor spread throughout the 7 continents within a few days. When those who had caused trouble for Yun Xiao found out that he was old Master Jun's grandson, they were so scared that they almost peed their pants and regretted it. Compared to the uproar in the outside world, the Jun family was peaceful. Everyone was busy preparing for the wedding in a few days, and no one cared about the disturbance. Young mistress. Just as Jun Fengling was asking someone to measure Yun Luofeng's wedding dress, a voice was heard hurriedly. Jun Fengling's fingers paused and looked at the rash servant girl of the Jun family. She asked, "What's the matter?" "A young master named Yi Shima has come. He said that he's your adopted son, young mistress, Yi Shima." Jun Fengling's eyes lit up when she heard the name, and her breathing quickened. "Quick, take me to CMO." Ever since Jun Fengling and Yi Jingchun left the Yi family, Yi Shima had also left. Not long ago, he brought a woman back to the Yi family and immediately went out to train. After that, there was no news of him. She did not expect Yi Shima to find the Jun family. Jun Fengling rushed to the front hall and saw the man standing in the courtyard. Her eyes flashed with joy, and she said, I finally see you again. Adoptive mother." Yi Shima curled his lips as he looked at Jun Fengling running over. "I heard about the matter between you and the Jun family, so I came looking for you. I should still be able to attend second brother and Feng's wedding, right?" Did you come alone?" Jun Fengling was a little surprised. "I heard from Siep and Jun that you brought a lady back to the Jun family last time. Why didn't she come with you this time?" Yi Shima coughed awkwardly and said, "Well, she didn't come with me this time." In fact, Yi Shima had always known how Yi Qi felt about him. However, he did not have any feelings for her. He only treated her as his younger sister. Unfortunately, he had already told her a few times, but she had turned a deaf ear to him. He had no choice but to find someone to pretend to be his woman. It was to make Yi Qi give up so that she could choose another husband to avoid missing out on her. At this moment, another old voice came from outside the door, clicking its tongue in wonder. "I didn't expect Master to grow to such an extent in just a few years after leaving the Roaring Dragon continent. When the Yun family found me, I still couldn't believe it. There was only one person who could call Yun Luofeng Master. That person was Old Man Tianya, who he was familiar with in the Roaring Dragon mainland. However, ever since Yun Luofeng left the Roaring Dragon continent, he had never seen Tianya again. She did not expect that the Yin family would find Tianya for her wedding. Seeing the little old man walk in from outside, Yun Luofeng's heart leaped with joy. She still missed her acquaintances from the Roaring Dragon continent. Chapter 1745. Tianya, why are you here? Yun Luofeng's words could not be any more normal, but it filled Tianya's eyes with grief. That expression made it seem as if Yun Luofeng had done something that caused the heavens to be angry. Master, I'm your disciple after all. Although you've never acknowledged it, in your disciple's heart, a teacher for a day is a father for life. How can I not come when you're getting married? Hearing this, Yun Luofeng's face immediately darkened. She had not been willing to accept Tianya, this old man, but now he actually said something like a teacher for a day is a father for life. She could not give birth to a son of his age. But Tianya chuckled. This time I didn't come alone. I brought my wife. Just as Tianya finished speaking, a woman in a green dress walked in from outside the courtyard. This woman's appearance was elegant and otherworldly. There was a faint smile on her face, like a green lotus that was untainted by the mud. Fu Sheng? Yun Luofeng could not be more familiar with the woman in front of him. Back then, because of a misunderstanding, Fu Sheng had left Tianya and stayed in the forest of no return. She had not taken a single step out, so Tianya had not been able to find her for many years. Miss Yun, long time no see. Fu Sheng smiled. Her lower abdomen was slightly bulging, and a blissful and sweet smile hung on her face. Congratulations. Yun Luofeng glanced at her slightly bulging lower abdomen and sincerely congratulated her. But I'd like to know, what method did Tianya use to chase you back? Just as Yun Luofeng finished speaking, another clear and bright voice rang out from the front. Master, I know about this. Ever since Master's father found out that my master was the beast king of the forest of no return, he shamelessly stayed. No matter how my master chased him away, he couldn't be chased away. He could be considered lucky. Coincidentally, someone wanted to capture my master, so he risked his life to save my master. This caused my master to be moved by him and continue to accept him. The man walking over from the front was the assassin Long Fei, who had gone to the Tian family to cause trouble for his master, but had been saved by Yun Luofeng. Looks like I'm late. Just as Yun Luofeng was about to say something, a cold voice suddenly sounded out from the void, drawing the attention of everyone. Perhaps in a few days, it would be the day of Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's marriage. Hence, the forces that had come to attend the banquet did not leave. Instead, they stayed in Junsheng. Coupled with the prestige of the Jun family, many people took advantage of this opportunity to curry favor with the Jun family. As a result, many influential people stood in front of the Jun family's courtyard. Among them, there was no lack of young girls waiting to be married. Now, when they heard this voice that was so pleasing to the ears that it could cause them to forget themselves, they could not help but raise their heads to look. In the void, a crescent-colored robe fluttered in the wind, as beautiful as an ink painting. The man's face was handsome like a banished immortal. There was no lack of an immortal's aura in his indifference. He was so clean that it seemed as if he had not been contaminated by the mortal world. Some of the women even covered their mouths in shock. How could there be such a celestial being in this world? It was so clean and pure that no one could bear to profane it. Chun Yuqing, long time no see. The moment she saw the man, Yun Luofeng raised his lips and smiled. Speaking of which, ever since he had met Chun Yuqing, this man had indeed helped him a lot. Even being able to enter the 7 continents was because of Chun Yuqing's help. Chapter 1746. How can I not come when you're getting married? Chun Yuqing's cold aura dissipated as she faced Yun Luofeng. Her eyes were filled with endless gentleness. This gentleness seemed to be able to drown people to death. It also filled the hearts of the girls present with envy. Yun Luofeng already had a powerful and outstanding man like the Ghost Emperor. She never thought that even such an immortal would only have eyes for her. She wondered what delicious food she had cooked in her past life to have such outstanding men by her side. Yun Xiao raised his eyebrows and instinctively pulled Yun Luofeng into his arms. He hugged her tightly. Even though he only saw gentleness in Chun Yuqing's eyes and no other emotions, this did not mean that he would let his guard down. Moreover, compared to the evildoer Ji Jiutian, This Chun Yuqing seemed to be shrouded in a layer of fog that no one could understand. This time, I did not bring you any precious gifts. Chun Yuqing's eyes flashed, and the smile on her lips deepened. This is a seed that I accidentally obtained. Perhaps you have the ability to cultivate it. After saying this, he slightly opened his palm. In his palm, there was a vermilion seed that was placed steadily. Even though it was only a seed, it was the size of half his palm. It was so red that it looked like it had been coated with a layer of paint. Master, accept it. Just as Yun Luofeng was hesitating, a clear voice sounded from behind him. Yun Luofeng turned around and saw little Mo standing behind him. At this moment, little Mo's handsome and young face was filled with excitement. His eyes stared unblinkingly at the seed in Chun Yuqing's palm. Yun Luofeng did not hesitate any longer. He calmly put away the seed and smiled. Thank you. Chun Yuqing's smile was full of gentleness. This seed is just a dead object in my hands. If it falls into your hands, perhaps it will be able to display its value. However, I hope that if you can cultivate this seed, you can give me one. All right. Yun Luofeng's lips curled. His beautiful face was filled with confidence and calmness. If I can really cultivate it, I will definitely give you one. She had the divine grimoire's space. It was not difficult for her to cultivate a seed. Yun Xiao did not speak. He silently stood beside Yun Luofeng. He watched as Yun Luofeng put away the seeds that Chun Yuqing had given him. He seemed to be deep in thought. Fenger, your old friends have arrived. Let the servant girls bring them to rest. Grandpa Jun walked out with a smile on his face. They must have had a hard time rushing here. Yun Luofeng nodded, then instructed the servant girls to take these people away. As for Long Fei, she arranged for them to look for the Steel Flame Legion. Back then, when she saved Long Fei sold himself to her, but who knew that after he returned to the Forest of No Return, he did not follow her out again. At this time, she definitely had to let him return to the team. After Long Fei saw that his master and martial father had reconciled, he no longer had any regrets and willingly walked with the Steel Flame Corps. Ever since the illusion collapsed, the Steel Flame Legion didn't go back to the illusion to train. Instead, they stayed in the Jun family. However, Yun Luofeng had the book that Zhu Qian left behind. It would only take him a few days to recover from the illusion. Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's wedding day had finally arrived amidst the excitement of the Jun family. At this time, in a cave in the wilderness, Bai Su looked coldly at the beautiful woman standing in front of her. Her eyes were hazy. Chapter 1747. Jinyu, how dare you do this to me? That day, he was waiting for Luo in the cave, but he didn't expect Jinyu to suddenly appear. He didn't know where she got the poison to attack him and bring him to this place. At the thought of Jinyu wanting to separate him from Luo, Bai Su's heart surged with anger, and his eyes became colder. I order you now, let me go. Jinyu looked at the man in front of her and smiled bitterly. Master, this powder was given to me by Miss Yun. Otherwise, do you think ordinary powder can hurt you? Even now, you still want to separate me from Luo? Bai Su was angry and shouted, I know that no matter what I say, Master, you won't believe me. Jinyu shook her head. Then what else can I say? Ever since she was saved by Master, her heart was on him. But she also understood that her identity was not worthy of the noble Master. Even as a concubine, she was not qualified, but she never asked for anything else. She only hoped to protect Master's safety. That was enough. Unfortunately, no matter how much she sacrificed, Master always turned a blind eye. And Yun Luofeng hated him so much, but Master wanted him so much that was fine. Who asked Yun Luofeng to have some attractive points on him? She was jealous and sad, but she never stopped Master. She was even willing to do everything to help him. What Jinyu didn't expect was that the Master would be deceived by others, and she was so distrustful of her for a fake. Then why did she continue to defend herself? Master, I came here today to tell you something. Miss Yun is getting married. Bai Su's body stiffened. He suppressed the anger in his heart and gritted his teeth. What did you say? Impossible, Luoer would not lie to me. Jean, you must have deliberately framed me. If Master doesn't believe me, I will take you to the June family, Jean, you said silently. And if Master wants to take Miss Yun away, I will also help Master. Bai Su clenched his fists tightly. His face was extremely ugly. Master, the poison I gave you can temporarily dissipate your spiritual power, but there is a time limit. You can recover today. In reality, it wasn't that Yun Luofeng hadn't thought of making Bai Su lose her spiritual power forever, but that was simply impossible. Even the medicinal powder that caused Bai Su to temporarily lose his spiritual power had taken a lot of effort to obtain. Based on Bai Su's strength, it was impossible for these powders to sneak up on him. Unfortunately, he had already suffered serious injuries. Coupled with the fact that he had indulged in excessive lust during this period of time, his body was extremely weak. Hence, Jin Yu's sneak attack was successful. Just as Jin Yu finished speaking, Bai Su felt the spiritual power in her body gradually recovering. The feeling of regaining her strength made her feel extremely comfortable. With a bang, she broke free from the rope that bound her body. Brocade! Bai Su jumped up and was already in front of Jin Yu. His slender fingers tightly grabbed Jin Yu's neck, and the blue veins on his forehead bulged. He shouted angrily, "How dare you?" Jin Yu closed her eyes and looked like she was facing death calmly. Ever since she was saved by Bai Su and brought back to the Bai family, her life belonged to Bai Su. If her master wanted her to die, then she would definitely not resist. But in the end, Bai Su still let go. Feeling the air filling the tip of her nose again, Jin Yu coughed twice. She covered her neck with her hand and looked up at the handsome and charming man in front of her. Chapter 1748. Scram! Bai Su shouted coldly. From now on, if you appear in front of me again, I will not let you go. Then he stroked his sleeves and walked out of the cave, disappearing from Jin Yu's sight in the blink of an eye. Jin Yu looked in the direction Bai Su had left with a bitter smile on her face. Master, this is the second time you've been soft on me. The first time, when her master was injured, she took the initiative to offer her body in order to heal her master's injuries. Even when master was furious, he still let her go. This was the second time. She had gone against master's wishes and even schemed against him. According to master's temper, he would have cut her into pieces. But he had still been merciful. But she did not think that master had been soft on her, because he had feelings for her. Master had always been tough on the outside but soft on the inside. She had followed him for so many years, he could not possibly be ruthless enough to kill her. After thinking about it, Jin Yu was a little worried about Bai Su going to the Jun family alone, so she hurriedly followed. Jun family. Decorated with lanterns and streamers, the atmosphere was jubilant. There were 3 seats on the main seat. Yun Luo, Jun Lintian, and Old Man Yi sat in the main seats. When he saw Yun Luofeng walk in with Yun Zhao's help, Yun Luo's face was full of relief. He had seen how much Yun Xiao had sacrificed for Yun Luofeng all these years. Now that the two of them had finally gotten married, no one was happier than him. First bow to the heavens and earth. Second bow to the parents. The master of ceremonies' voice rang out, and blessings came from all around. Yun Luofeng's face was covered with a wedding veil, so it was impossible to see her face clearly. But when she lowered her head, a corner of her face could be seen. Yun Luofeng, this woman is finally getting married. Nangong Yuni was very excited, as if he was the one getting married and not Yun Luofeng. In this world, the only man who can subdue her is probably the Ghost Emperor. All right, Hongwan, when are you going to marry me? I said that I would be responsible for you. Suddenly, Nangong Yuni turned to Hongwan. He was no longer afraid of her, but he still spoke carefully, afraid that he would be beaten by this woman again. That's right. Ever since he had arrived at the Jun residence, Hongwan would often look for trouble and beat him up. She had caused him to lose all his face. But he liked this violent woman. Ahem. When Hong Ling heard Nangong Yuni's words, she couldn't help but let out 2 dry coughs. She had an embarrassed expression on her face. This stinking brat dared to seduce his own daughter right in front of him, He simply did not put him, his father-in-law, in his eyes. That's not right. When did I become this guy's father-in-law? He had never admitted it. Send it in. At this moment, the master of the ceremony's voice rang out once again. However, he hadn't even finished speaking when a loud bang came from outside the June family's residence, causing several of the old men to stand up in an instant. What's going on? June Lintian's face darkened. Today was Miss Xiao and little Yun's big day. Which idiot would dare to make trouble here? Father-in-law, don't worry. Yi Jingchen's eyes darkened, and he said in his gentle voice, I'll go out and see what's going on. Even though his voice was as gentle as ever, everyone could still hear the coldness in it. Chapter 1749. Outside the June residence. On the spacious road, there were few people. Obviously, the pedestrians who were walking on the street were afraid of being affected by the battle and had already hidden. Jin Yu's body fell from the sky and fell to the ground in a sorry state. Blood kept flowing out of her mouth, and her beautiful face was pale. On top of her head, a woman in black stood. This woman raised her eyebrows slightly and looked down at Jin Yu, who had fallen to the ground. You? Why are you here? Jin Yu bit her lips tightly. Wasn't this woman unable to leave the hidden divine mountain? Otherwise, she wouldn't have asked her to cause trouble for Yun Luofeng that day. Qin Luo snorted and slowly descended from the sky. She slowly walked towards Bai Su, her eyes filled with deep affection. Husband, I've finally found you. The moment she saw Qin Luo, Bai Su's heart was at ease. Luo, why are you here? I'm here to take you back. Qin Luo's smile was very gentle. Even though she had played enough with Bai Su during this time, she still couldn't bear to give up such a handsome and charming man. Moreover, she still liked Bai Su very much. In reality, the imprint that Qin Luo had left in Bai Su's mind also had the effect of locating him. She had also used this location to find him. Unfortunately, in order to be able to leave the hidden God Mountain, she had spent quite a bit of effort, which was why she was only able to find Bai Su now. Luo, aren't you going to get married? Bai Su asked hesitantly. Why did you say that you're here to take me back? Get married? When did you get married? Why didn't I know? Qin Luo was stunned, her eyes full of surprise. Hearing her words, a trace of suspicion flashed in Bai Su's eyes. After all, it was because of the mark in his mind that he didn't think too deeply about it. After saying this, Qin Luo also came back to his senses and glared at Jin Yu. Jin Yu, how dare you to frame me? If I, Yun Luofeng, want to marry, I will only marry Bai Su. Why do you want to discredit me? Jin Yu was stunned. She raised her stunned eyes and looked at Qin Luo with a stunned expression. This woman, she actually called herself Yun Luofeng in front of the June residents? Was she stupid? In fact, Qin Luo couldn't be blamed for this. She wasn't from this continent, and she had never stepped out of the hidden God Mountain. Naturally, she didn't know that the June family in front of her was Yun Luofeng's family. Moreover, even if she had peeped into Bai Su's memories, she wouldn't have been able to know all of her interpersonal relationships. Therefore, she had dared to impersonate Yun Luofeng in front of the June family's door. Husband, Qin Luo smiled sweetly and held Bai Su's arm. Her voice was very delicate. At that time, I heard that Jin Yu took you away. I was really scared. I didn't expect that she dared to slander my innocence. I can't marry anyone else. In this life, I only recognize you as my husband. Although she left a mark in Bai Su's mind, and she didn't need to be afraid that Bai Su would go against her will, it didn't mean that she could condone Jin Yu's behavior. This woman betrayed her first, and now she dared to yell at her to steal her man. How could Qin Luo tolerate this? Jin Yu looked at Qin Luo's shameless face, and her beautiful eyes flashed. She suddenly shouted loudly, I didn't say anything wrong. Yun Luofeng is already the Ghost Emperor's woman. You! Qin Luo pointed at Jin Yu angrily. If you talk nonsense again, be careful that I tear your mouth. When did I become the Ghost Emperor's woman? It's always been that Ghost Emperor pestering me. I don't care about him at all. That man is cold like an iceberg, without any enthusiasm. How can he compare to my husband's gentleness? Even if he pesters me again, I won't marry a man like him. If you smear me because of jealousy, don't blame me for being rude. Chapter 1750. Bai Su frowned slightly and looked at Qin Luo with confusion in his eyes. Why was the Ghost Emperor never as cold as an iceberg to Yun Luofeng in his memory? Instead, he was always enthusiastic. Could it be that there was something wrong with his memory? Bai Su did not get to where he was today because he was stupid. He trusted Qin Luo at first because Qin Luo had tampered with his memory and made him believe that the other person was Yun Luofeng. However, Qin Luo could not change the way Yun Luofeng interacted with others. How could he not know how Yun Xiao treated Yun Luofeng? Why was his son saying that Yun Xiao was cold now? Therefore, Bai Su fell into deep thought. She felt that something was wrong. Qin Luo did not notice Bai Su's strangeness and looked at Jin Yu mockingly. His eyes were full of mockery and his face was full of disdain. Umph! At this moment, a contemptuous voice came from the Jun family's courtyard. I was wondering who was causing trouble in the Jun family. So, you want to slander my son after failing? His brocade robes accentuated the man's tall figure. His originally gentle face was now covered with a layer of frost. My daughter-in-law is so outstanding, and you dare to shamelessly say that my son is pestering you? Why don't you look at yourself in the mirror? How can you let my son pester you? Qin Luo was stunned, and his beautiful eyes were full of confusion. Who is this man? What did his words mean? When did I say that his son was pestering me? She clearly said that. The Ghost Emperor? A light flashed in Qin Luo's mind, and she immediately caught it, causing her face to turn slightly pale. Husband, let's go. Damn it, Jin Yu, that little bitch must have done it on purpose. Of all places, she had to bring Bai Su to the Ghost Emperor in Yun Luofeng's territory. Wait, Bai Su frowned and looked at Qin Luo. He asked in confusion, what is going on between you and the Ghost Emperors? Bai Su knew Yi Jingchen and naturally knew that he was Yun Zhao's stepfather. Now that Yi Jingchen said this, Bai Su naturally thought that Yun Xiao had abandoned Yun Luofeng. Up until now, Bai Su had never doubted Qin Luo's identity. This was the power of her cultivation method. Qin Luo bit his lip as tears flowed down from his eyes. Husband, it's this guy. He doesn't allow me to be with the Ghost Emperor, and now he's forcing her to marry another woman. I don't want to stay here. Let's go. This time, it was Yi Jingchen's turn to be stunned. He knew this woman. She even said that she was against her and Yun Xiao being together and that she was forcing Yun Xiao to marry someone else. After all, Yi Jingchen had no idea that Qin Luo was pretending to be Yun Luofeng. Naturally, he thought that Qin Luo had designs on Yun Xiao and had brought others to cause trouble on the day of the wedding. But, however, he had neglected one point. This woman had called the man beside her husband. She already had a husband, so why did she have to defame her own son, trying to ruin the marriage of his son and daughter-in-law? Luo Bai Su's eyes were filled with confusion. You've always called him Yun Xiao. Why have you called him Ghost Emperor now? Qin Luo panicked and hurriedly sensed the imprint in Bai Su's mind. When she felt that the imprint was still there, she heaved a sigh of relief. The Ghost Emperor has abandoned me after being promiscuous. He's not fit for me to call him by his name. Husband, you're the best. Let's go now. This is the Ghost Emperor's wedding, so I don't want others to think that I still have feelings for him. Let's go quickly. Chapter 1751. Only now did she notice that the Jun residence was decorated with lanterns and banners, and the word "she" was pasted on the door. Needless to say, the main characters of this wedding were Yun Xiao and Yun Luofeng. Qin Luo gritted her teeth at the thought of a man with such a perfect figure marrying another woman. But she was afraid that Yun Luofeng would rush out and expose her true colors in front of Bai Su, so she urged Bai Su to leave quickly. Yi Jingchen was completely enraged. His own son had abandoned her? Yun Xiao, come out right now. Yi Jingchen lost his usual gentleness and immediately shouted angrily. No one knew whether he was angry at Qin Luo or Yun Xiao. In the June residence's main hall, many people were looking around, but did not leave. Now that they heard Yi Jingchun's roar, they did not know what was going on and quickly ran out. Yi Jingchun panicked even more. Qin Luo panicked even more. He grabbed Bai Su's hand tightly and said weakly, "Husband, I really didn't know that the Ghost Emperor was getting married today. Let's go on. Luo, don't be afraid. It's his fault for abandoning you. I won't give up on you." Bai Su patted his hand comfortingly and turned her devilish eyes to the courtyard in front of them. Qin Luo could barely stand straight, and his lips were pale. However, when she saw Yun Xiao, who was dressed in a red groom's attire, her eyes instantly lit up. Yun Luofeng did not come? That was great. As long as Yun Luofeng was not here, the mark in Bai Su's mind would not break. What happened? Grandpa Jun and the others hurriedly walked out and said with an ugly expression on their faces. Yi Jingchun searched the crowd and was relieved to see that Yun Luofeng was not there. After all, it was their wedding day. Yi Jingchun did not want to ruin Yun Luofeng's mood and make her worry. It's not convenient for her to come out. Yun Xiao knew what Yi Jingchun was thinking and said softly. In reality, he didn't want Bai Su to see Yun Luofeng, especially on the day of their wedding. Yi Jingchun's expression became better, but he still kept a straight face and asked, "What's wrong with this lady? She first said that you were pestering her, and then she said that you abandoned her. Have you ever done such an inhumane thing?" Yun Xiao glanced at Qin Luo and pursed her thin lips. "I know her." Many of the guests sighed when they heard this. They had all thought that the Ghost Emperor was very serious about matters of the heart, but it turned out that he was nothing more than this. First, he pestered this woman relentlessly, and after getting her, he abandoned her instead of cherishing her. As for Yun Luofeng, it turned out that he had stolen someone else's husband. "What are you doing?" Hong Luan glanced at Nangong Yuni, who had an ashen expression on his face, and said in a deep voice, "Don't cause trouble at Feng Er's wedding." Nangong Yuni glared at Hong Luan. "Today is Yun Luofeng's wedding day, and these people are actually causing trouble here. I'm going to find them to settle the score." Whether it was Nangong Yuni or Hong Luan, they both believed in Yun Xiao. It wasn't that they understood Yun Xiao very well, but that they knew Yun Luofeng's foresight. How could a man that Yun Luofeng fancied be weak? Hong Luan pressed down on Nangong Yuni's hand. Since Yun Xiao did not ask Feng to come out, it means that he has a way to solve this. You just have to wait and watch the show. Compared to the trust that Hong Luan and the others had for Yun Xiao, the other people who did not know the situation were full of contempt, but they did not dare to say it because the Jun family members were present. Chapter 1752. Nangong Yuni took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to beat someone up in his heart. In his previous life, he wasn't able to protect Yun Luofeng and couldn't stand by her side to shield her from the wind and rain. In this life, if someone could protect her, he wouldn't allow anyone to destroy her happiness. "I do know her, under everyone's gaze," Yun Xiao slowly spoke again. "However, she wanted to use a secret technique to trick me. She wanted to tamper with my memory and make me think she was Feng who knew that my mental strength was stronger than hers. She didn't succeed." Yun Xiao's voice was very pleasant, but it was extremely cold. Unfortunately, he looked at Bai Su, and the meaning in his eyes couldn't be more obvious. Yun Xiao already said that Qin Luo tricked him and wanted to pretend to be Yun Luofeng, but failed. This also proved that the man in front of them was also Yun Luofeng's admirer, but was deceived by this woman. "You're talking nonsense." Qin Luo stared coldly at Yun Xiao. "You're just regretting abandoning me after you've used me. So you want to destroy my husband's and my happiness. Let me tell you, you won't succeed. I won't fall for someone like you who likes to pester me." Since Yun Luofeng didn't come out just now, it proved that she couldn't appear at the door. That's why she said such presumptuous words. However, she didn't know that Yun Xiao didn't let Yun Luofeng come out because he didn't want her to worry about these things on her big day. So he planned to come out and solve it. Secondly, Yun Luofeng was too beautiful today. He didn't want Bai Su to see her beauty. Yes, Yin Xiao was such a petty man. Even though he was vigilant against Chun Yuqing and Ji Jiutian, he was also friendly to them because they had helped Yun Luofeng a lot. In comparison, Mo Qiancheng and Bai Su's existence made him very uncomfortable. He was already uncomfortable, so why did he let them see his beautiful wife? What's going on? Bai Su frowned, and her voice became cold. Jean, you might have framed Yun Luofeng out of jealousy. However, according to the Ghost Emperor's infatuation with Yun Luofeng, would he really abandon her? Truthfully, Bai Su didn't believe it. Even if Yun Luofeng abandoned Yun Xiao would never abandon her. Husband, don't listen to these people's nonsense. They're all jealous of you. Let's go. Don't bother with these people. Suppressing the panic in his heart, Qin Luo grabbed Bai Su's hand and tried to walk out. When the crowd heard Yun Xiao's words, they immediately reacted and looked at Qin Luo and Bai Su with eyes full of disdain. As for Yun Luofeng's friends and family, they were all stunned. This was the first time they had seen someone impersonating someone else in front of someone else's house and acting so righteously. Today was truly an eye-opener for them. Yun Xiao. Suddenly, a voice came from behind the door. It was cold and evil, and it caused Bai Su's body to freeze. Why did you come out? Yun Xiao turned her head and looked at the peerless beauty who was slowly walking out from the courtyard. Actually, I can resolve these matters. Compared to the white-clothed woman of the past, Yun Luofeng was now wearing a red wedding dress. She was so beautiful that people forgot to breathe. She never wore any makeup, and she was so beautiful even without any makeup. Now that she had put on a light makeup, she was so beautiful that people couldn't take their eyes off her. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call her the #1 beauty of the 7 continents. Yun Xiao felt the gas from the people around him. He frowned, and his cold eyes swept over those people. His eyes were filled with murderous intent, and many people looked away in fright. Yun Xiao, I know you can resolve this matter, but if someone impersonates me and tarnishes my reputation, how can I not step forward? Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a faint smile. His dark eyes looked at Bai Su in front of him. Bai Su, I didn't think I would meet you in such an occasion. Chapter 1753. Bai Su's expression froze. At this moment, he felt as if something in his mind was shattering like glass. Yun Luofeng, countless fragments of memories surfaced in Bai Su's mind. His initially blurry face gradually became clear in front of her eyes. Master. Jinyu got up from the ground with difficulty and looked at Bai Su worriedly. Bai Su's body swayed a few times, and his footsteps were a little unsteady. His evil eyes were filled with rage. You dare to scheme against me? He turned towards Qin Luo bit by bit and asked through gritted teeth. The flaw in Qin Luo's cultivation technique was that it would collapse if she met the person she was impersonating. Hence, the moment Yun Luofeng appeared, Bai Su's memories were all retrieved. He also understood what was going on. The funny thing was that he did not even trust the maidservant who had been by his side for so many years. Instead, he trusted this woman. I'm going to kill you. Bai Su attacked Qin Luo angrily while she was still in a daze. The rage in her eyes was so intense that it seemed as if it could burn the entire world. It was one thing for Qin Luo to scheme against him. However, when he thought of all the times he had spent with Qin Luo in bed over the past few days, he felt a nauseous feeling in his heart. That feeling was even worse than swallowing a fly. Humph! Qin Luo gradually turned around. When she saw Bai Su's attack, she scoffed coldly and retreated. Bai Su, to think that I liked you so much and even gave myself to you. Now, you actually want to kill me? How can I let you do as you wish? He was just a man. Even though she liked him, she would never allow him to act presumptuously over her head. If it wasn't for the fact that her strength was restricted, perhaps everyone here would have been annihilated by now. Boom. Bai Su's attacks became fiercer and fiercer, and Qin Luo had a hard time dodging them. She bit her lip and said expressionlessly, Bai Su, you're so cruel to me. Don't blame me for not remembering our past relationship. After saying that, Qin Luo dodged Bai Su's attack with a flicker. She quickly took out a yellow talisman paper and forced a drop of blood from the tip of her finger onto the talisman paper. Her captivating red lips opened slightly as she muttered something. Then, with a bang, the yellow talisman immediately exploded. It's a sealing talisman. June Lintian was more knowledgeable than the others, so he could not help but exclaim when he saw the talisman. This woman has the legendary sealing talisman? A sealing talisman? Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and turned to look at June Lintian. It is said that there is an extremely powerful spirit beast sealed within the talisman paper. However, I have only heard of such a thing, but I have never seen it before. I never thought that I would see it here. As soon as June Lintian finished speaking, a huge figure appeared in front of Qin Luo. It was a huge flaming bull with 2 horns on its head. Its blood-red eyes were completely red, and its face was ferocious. Its 4 hooves were constantly rubbing against the ground. Qin Luo's expression did not look too good. Her body swayed a few times, but she insisted on standing up. "Purgatory Blood Bowl, don't let anyone here go." She raised her chin. Even though her face was pale, her expression was still arrogant. In reality, Qin Luo was not feeling good at the moment. There was a price to pay for breaking the seal. The spiritual beast inside the sealing talisman paper would absorb half of her soul to help it break the seal. Chapter 1754. But, since she had helped him break the seal with her own spiritual energy, from now on, this purgatory blood bowl would definitely obey her every command. The reason why she did not take out the sealing talisman back then was because she had hidden it away and did not bring it with her. Otherwise, she would have made it so that these people could not leave the hidden divine mountain that day. Moo! The blood bowl roared angrily and charged towards Yun Xiao and Yun Luofeng. Blood bowl, kill that bitch Yun Luofeng first. When Qin Luo saw that the blood cow was charging towards Yun Xiao, he anxiously shouted, "As for this ghost emperor, you must not hurt his face. I still have to return to the hidden god mountain later. The many years of loneliness in the hidden god mountain is too unbearable." What she meant was that she wanted to bring Yun Xiao back to the vault of the sacred mountain to relieve her of her loneliness. The blood bowl obeyed Qin Luo and charged towards Yun Luofeng. Its horns were as red as flames and extremely sharp. "Watch out!" Yun Xiao raised her hand and shielded Yun Luofeng in her arms. She tilted her body and dodged the blood bowl's charge. She frowned as she stared at the rampaging blood bowl. The blood bowl was enraged when he saw that the human had dodged his charge. He stomped on the ground a few times, then turned around again and charged towards Yun Luofeng. "Men, let's kill this blood cow together." June Lintian was enraged and drew his sword. The others also took out their weapons and fought against the blood bowl. They hadn't forgotten what Qin Luo had just said. She was talking about killing everyone here. Moo! The blood bowl's eyes turned even redder, as if he had gone mad. He charged towards those who dared to stop him. "Damn it! I have to end this battle as soon as possible. If the Qin family finds out that this talisman is in my hands..." Qin Luo's eyes flashed with anxiety. That's right. She had stolen this talisman. Although she was only a collateral relative of the Qin family, she was extremely talented. She had once been chosen by a young lady from the main family to accompany her. She had taken the opportunity to steal the talisman from that young lady. Fortunately, this young lady from the direct line of descent remembered their old friendship. In addition, she did not admit to stealing, so she let her life go, sealed her power, and locked her up in this desolate place. Now, she had only taken a risk and took out the talisman, intending to end this battle after the Qin family found out about this. Even when she was able to leave the hidden god mountain, she had to use a doppelganger technique. In reality, her body was still hidden within the mountain. Of course, this kind of doppelganger technique required her to pay a huge price. It was estimated that she would not be able to recover for a period of time. At the thought of this, Qin Luo's eyes flashed and his icy gaze turned towards Yun Luofeng, who was being protected by Yun Xiao. The corners of his lips curled into an icy smile. "I only need to kill you. As for the others, I can slowly deal with them in the future. Whoosh. Just as everyone was dealing with Blood Cow, Qin Luo's body turned into a sharp sword and shot towards Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng raised her head and saw Qin Luo walking towards her. A smile appeared on her beautiful face. If this had happened before her breakthrough, she might not have been able to face Qin Luo. Now, however, she was 100% confident that she could defeat him. However, just as she was about to calmly face Qin Luo, a figure appeared in front of her at lightning speed and blocked that fatal attack for her. Chapter 1755. Qin Luo's palm was like a sharp sword as it pierced through the chest of the person in front of him. Fresh blood bloomed on her chest like a seductive rose and gradually dyed her clothes red. Yun Luofeng looked at the beautiful woman in front of him, and shock flashed across his eyes. Perhaps he did not understand why she would protect him at a time like this. Bang! Jin Yu's body fell heavily on the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. She spat out a steady stream of blood, and her beautiful face had long been covered in fresh blood. Miss Yun, you are the person that Master wants to protect. As Master's subordinate, it is only right for me to protect the person that he wants to protect. Her voice was very weak, but her beautiful eyes were abnormally firm. All these years, Master has caused you a lot of trouble and even wanted you, but he has never hurt you. The person he has hurt has always been Yun Xiao. The person he hates, I will kill for him even if I have to sacrifice my life. The person that he wants to protect, I will do everything I can to protect for him. This is my life's mission. These words seemed to have exhausted all of her strength, causing her eyelids to tremble and slowly close. The moment she closed her eyes, a scene from the past appeared in her mind once again. On the land where the flames of war were raging, she lay helplessly next to her parents' bodies. A pair of fair and slender hands stretched out in front of her. The youth's seductive voice rang in her ears like a day ago. Follow me, and I will give you a bright future. You only need to sell your life to me. My life was given by Master. Now, it can be said that I have returned it to Master. Jin Yu said this last sentence to Bai Su. However, after she had finished speaking, her eyelids had already closed completely. Her arm fell to the ground, and fresh blood covered the ground beneath her. Damn slut! How dare you stop me from killing someone? I will grind your bones to ashes first. Qin Luo's expression was malevolent. He raised his hand, and flames poured down, about to cover Jin Yu's body. At this moment, her hand was grabbed by a strong arm, and the flames on her hand were extinguished. You want to kill me? The woman gently raised the corner of her lips and said in a cold and stern voice, I'm afraid that even your original body doesn't have this kind of strength, let alone a mere clone. Qin Luo panicked. How could this woman see that he was just a clone? Boom! Murderous aura surged from Yun Luofeng's body. Her black hair fluttered in the wind, and her red wedding clothes fluttered in the wind. Bai Su looked at Jin Yu, who was lying in a pool of blood from afar. His pupils gradually narrowed, and he clenched his fists tightly. His expression could not be seen on his devilishly handsome face. Yun Luofeng. Bai Su raised her head and stared quietly at Yun Luofeng, who was standing in front of Qin Luo. In this life, you and the Ghost Emperor are the most difficult opponents I have ever met. I want you by all means possible, not only because your abilities can help me, but also because you are the most powerful woman I have ever seen. Just like how beauties adore heroes, men would also have a good impression of powerful women. However, this was only a good impression. If there is a next life, I hope to be friends with you. Or perhaps it would be good to have an opponent who sympathizes with me. Bai Su smiled. Qin Luo hurt me too much and lied to me. He also killed Jin Yu. So, her enemy should be me. I know that this is only her clone, but if her clone is destroyed, she will also be seriously injured. That you're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.